Section number 1 of Rhymes of Childhood by Edgar A. Guest. This LibriVox recording is in the public domain. Read by Thomas Dorrington Hardeen. Rhymes of Childhood. How the Baby Learned to Smile. The first few weeks she never knew the faces of the people who came flocking round her crib by day. She looked at them the selfsame way. She treated all with cold disdain, and recognized but hunger's pain. We watched and wondered all the while, just when our babe would learn to smile. "She is too small," the mother said, the while I stood above her bed, and hoped to see those big blue eyes light up with wonder and surprise. "The world is all so strange and new. She has not grown accustomed to this curious earth, but by and by you'll see a twinkle in her eye." And then, one morning when we woke, the mother looked at her and spoke, and something marvelous took place. A smile lit up the baby's face. A smile as radiant to see as blossoms on a cherry tree. A smile to us much brighter far than morning sun or evening star. I fancy while that night we slept, an angel to her cradle crept, and touched those little lips and eyes with brushes dipped in summer skies, and golden liquid from the sun, and taught her how the smile is done. At least, I'm telling all the while. That's how our baby learned to smile. End of section 1. Recording by Thomas Dorrington Hardeen. Section number 2 of Rhymes of Childhood by Edgar A. Guest. This LibriVox recording is in the public domain. Read by Thomas Dorrington Hardeen. Grandma. I know what makes a grandma grand. She always has a treat. A cookie or a piece of cake or apple pie to eat. And when we go to visit her, she gets the good things out. And we don't have to ask for more as long as she's about. Then Ma will say, "That's all today, don't give them any more. You'll make them ill, I know you will. Tonight we'll walk the floor." A grandma never punishes or says that we are bad. She always takes us on her knee and tells us she is glad to have us racing round the house, and when we get too smart, and Pa and Ma are awful cross, she always takes our part. And once, when I had told a lie and had to go to bed, without my tea, she came to me and brought me jam and bread. Ma says it's funny Grandma acts the way she does today. When she was Grandma's little girl, she couldn't disobey, or only eat the thing she liked and get the stomach ache, or pick the chocolate frosting off and never touch the cake. When she was bad, she always had the punishment to bear. But we can be much worse than she, and Grandma doesn't care. Pa says that grandmas are alike. Their job of training's done. They don't like tears to come along and spoil the children's fun. They love to see the youngsters eat, and though it isn't right, they never have to walk the floor or stay up all the night. And children know the times they go to Grandma's house to play. Though bad they are, their Ma and Pa can't have a word to say. End of section 2. Recording by Thomas Dorrington Hardeen. Section 3 of Rhymes of Childhood by Edgar A. Guest. This LibriVox recording is in the public domain. Read by Thomas Dorrington Hardeen. Habits. Habits are things which you do and you shouldn't. Things which a good little sissy boy wouldn't. For instance, to sprawl on a bed in your clothes and yank off a shoe and don't look where it goes, and take off his stocking and give it a fling, so that when it comes to morning, you can't find a thing. Which you know you took off, it should be on the chair, but habit has kept you from putting it there. Habits are funny, you do 'em, that's all. And you do 'em without ever thinking at all. You say that you won't toss your hat on the floor, or bite down your nails till your fingers are sore, or sniffle your nose, or sit humped in your chair, and twist up and play with a bunch of your hair. And you mean that you won't when you promise it then, but the first thing you know, you have done it again. Habits are things that your parents detest, like twisting the button that's sewed on your vest, or scuffling your feet as you walk through the hall, and you don't even know that you do them at all. You don't even know what's the matter when they bring you up with a jerk with that "stop it, I say." Then they preach and they talk and they scold you a lot, and it's all on account of that habit you've got. End of section 3. Recording by Thomas Dorrington Hardeen.
Section 4 of Rhymes of Childhood by Edgar A. Guest. This LibriVox recording is in the public domain. Read by Ed Humple. The Path o' Little Children. The path o' little children is the one I want to tread, where green is every valley and every rose is red, where laughter's always ringing and every smile is real, and where the hurts are little hurts that just a kiss will heal. The path o' little children on the primrose edge of life, that leads away from jealousy and bitterness and strife. The path that leads to gladness, that's the way I want to go, where no one speaks unkindly and no one knows a foe. The path o' little children that winds o'er hill and dale, and leads us down to gentle seas where tiny vessels sail, that takes us through the barnyard and through the pasture bars, will bring us home at evening with hearts that know no scars. The path o' little children, their peaceful dreams come true, their sunshine's always streaming and every sky is blue. There each one loves the other and every one is fair, and cheeks are pink with beauty and singing fills the air. The path o' little children, it's there I want to tread, where innocence is dwelling, with not a thing to dread, where care is not an ogre, and sin is but a name, and no one thinks of money, and no one sighs for fame. End of section 4.
Section 5, Rhymes of Childhood by Edward A. Guest. Read by Linda Sonrisa. This LibriVox recording is in the public domain. Just a boy. He is just a boy with his eyes aglow, just a boy, and you love him so, and his merry laugh and his roguish way, and those restless feet which turn to play, are youth's rich treasures swiftly spent. You had them once ere your boyhood went. You raced and romped in the self-same way, but you cry, "Keep still," for you're tired today. Time was you jeered at an easy chair, and an hour of quiet was hard to bear. Then life was filled with 1,000 things, and your arms and legs were strong as springs. And the old folks said, as they looked at you, "He races and romps the whole day through, and he's never tired, and he can't sit still. He ought to rest, but he never will. He is just a boy, and a boy must jump, and a boy must run till his pulses thump, must swing his arms and kick his heels, and give full vent to the joy he feels, must rush in the house and bolt his meals, and long for things which run on wheels. And whenever you find him sitting still, it's not that he's tired, it's because he's ill." End of section 5. Section 6, Rhymes of Childhood by Edgar A. Guest. Read by Linda Sonrisa. This LibriVox recording is in the public domain. The New Little Gimmie. There's a new little gimmie at our house, a new little Gimmie who cries for the silvery moon or a rattle or spoon or whatever is new to her eyes. Though she's helpless and small, her old dad understands just what she means when she holds out her hands. There's a new little Gimmie at our house, a new little wanter of things, of ribbons and laces and bright jewel cases, of watches and brooches and rings. Though she's not 1 year old, in her feminine way, she knows how to get what she wants day by day. There's a new little Gimmie at our house, a Gimmie who's speechless, and yet, with a frown or a smile, what she wants for the while, like her mother, she knows how to get. With a grunt she demands, "Gimme this, gimme that," until sometimes her dad doesn't know where he's at. There's a new little Gimmie at our house, and though lovely and small she appears, her hands are held out for the joys round about, and she gets them with smiles or with tears. And her old dad declares that man's life and its whirl is lived just to give pretty things to a girl. End of section 6. Section 7, Rhymes of Childhood by Edgar A. Guest, read by Linda Sonrisa. This LibriVox recording is in the public domain. The Woe of the Unwilling Orator. I wish I would get sick and couldn't go. I wish a fire would burn the schoolhouse down. I wish we'd have at least 10 feet of snow so people couldn't get around the town. I wish I'd get a black eye in a fight. I got to speak a piece tomorrow night. I wish I'd lose my pants or get 'em torn. I hope that Ma can't find my shirt or hat, and having nothing decent to be worn, she'll say, "I cannot let you go like that." But Ma will have my clothes laid out all right. I got to speak a piece tomorrow night. Some fellows can get sick and stay away. Sometimes the schoolhouse burns the night before. Bill Green once broke his leg the very day he had to speak a piece, and Jimmy Moore tore out his Sunday pants right where he sat. But I don't ever have such luck as that. Nothing I eat will make me sick today. I couldn't get a black eye if I tried. Ma's got my Sunday clothes all put away. I wish I knew a place where I could hide. But I'll be there, dressed up and frightened white. I got to speak a piece tomorrow night. End of section 7.
Section 8 of Rhymes of Childhood by Edgar A. Guest. This LibriVox recording is in the public domain. Read by Thomas Dorrington Hardeen. A Christmas Story. Now, children, if you will just gather about, I'll tell you the story of little Tom Doubt. Just sit on the floor there and look up at me. Yes, yes, I'll take 2 of you, 1 on each knee. And now I'll begin. Well, this little Tom Doubt, he said he couldn't figure old Santa Claus out. He said that no reindeer could patter a hoof, or gallop like mad on his snow-covered roof. And he said that his chimney he knew was too small for a white-whiskered saint to get down it at all. And he didn't believe that the girls and the boys from Santa Claus ever got candies and toys. Now little Tom Doubt said, "I'll prove that I'm right. No letter to Santa Claus this year I'll write. I want a new sled and I want a new drum, but I won't let him know that I want him to come. I'll test out the Santa Claus story this year. I won't even tell him that I'm living here." When he woke in the morning, he found by his bed the drum that he longed for, the new shiny sled, and all that he wanted yet never had told, and his look of surprise was a joy to behold. "Why, he's real! He has been here!" cried little Tom Doubt. "But however did Santa Claus find all this out?" End of section 8. Recorded by Thomas Dorrington Hardeen.
Section 9 of Rhymes of Childhood by Edgar A. Guest. This LibriVox recording is in the public domain. Read by Thoughtful Wilderness. Weaning the Baby. Her tears are very near today. there's sorrow in her eyes, for they have ordered her away whene'er the baby cries. There's little beauty in the sun, however fair the day be, for now the mother has begun the weaning of the baby. No more upon her gentle breast that little face may lie, no more that little nose be pressed against her food supply. No more by night, no more by day, that wondrous pleasure may be, this shadow falls across the way, the weaning of the baby. Oh, you may smile, but mother sighs, and now the hours are sad. She sees the look of pained surprise in eyes that once were glad. And in her throat a lump comes up that's big enough to throttle, because her lovely babe must sup her dinner from a bottle. Now bottles can't sing lullabies when tender babies dine, or read the love in little eyes when eagerly they shine. And so she sadly says to me, I'll miss her fond caresses, the cuddling ways which used to be her tugging at my dresses. I'll miss her cry for me at night, and all her squeals of glee, her smile of welcome and delight when she discovered me. I'll miss the tie that holds me near, and long will every day be. I'm sorry that the time is here for me to wean the baby. End of section 9. Section 10 of Rhymes of Childhood by Edgar A. Guest. This Library Vox recording is in the public domain. Read by Thoughtful Wilderness. The First Step. Last night she hurried out to say, the baby took a step today. A step alone, those little feet walked out, 2 waiting hands to greet. Walked boldly out and left the chair which little hands had clung to there. A very glorious hint to make of many steps she soon will take. At eve they hurried out to say, the baby took a step today. What mattered letters, friendly calls, and all the care which daily falls? The news by phone, the gossip heard. One thing important had occurred. One big deed swept all else away. The baby took a step today. The baby took a step, ah me, the first of millions that will be. Those little feet will walk and climb and run along the road of time. They've started out, and where they'll go 'tis not permitted us to know. Out of her arms she turns away. The baby took a step today. Dear Lord, now hear me as I pray. Our baby took a step today. Grant that her little feet shall find no cruel pathways or unkind. Be thou her guide through life, that she may walk in safe security. Let love and beauty light her way. Our baby took a step today. End of section 10.
Section 11, Rhymes of Childhood by Edgar A. Guest, read by Linda Sonrisa. This LibriVox recording is in the public domain. Wishing. I wished my pa would ask me to do somefin' 'at he wanted done. I wished he'd think of somefin' now he needs, so's I could jump and run, and get it for him quick, so's he could see how good his boy can be. I wished my pa would say to me, the way he's often done before, my baccy's gone, here Willie run and get some for me at the store. I wished he would, so's I could show him just how fast his boy can go. I'm sittin' here just waitin' for my pa to ask me now to get his slippers and his smoking coat, but he ain't never asked me yet. I wished my pa would even say it's bedtime. I'd go right away. I know at Christmas time is near, and I would like my pa to see, when he wants little errands done, how willin' his own boy can be. I wished of somefin' he would think, I'd do it quicker in a wink. End of section 11. Section 12, Rhymes of Childhood by Edgar A. Guest, read by Linda Sonrisa. This LibriVox recording is in the public domain. Where the Children Meet. There's a little house on a humble street, with a little porch where the children meet. And when school is out, you can hear them shout, an army glad, as they race about. To horn and drum they boldly come, and they tramp the grass till it's brown and bare, and the passers-by with a careful eye must watch for the wagons rolling there. Now many a house on this street is prim, with a grass plot neat and the windows trim. And a lovely sight is the garden bright, but it's all too fine for a paper fight. So the children go to a place they know, where the maid won't fly to the door and say, "Get out in the street with your dirty feet." Don't you know that I washed that porch today? There is always a house on every street that is known as the place where the children meet. You can pick it out as you walk about, for it's there that the youngsters laugh and shout. And the grass is bare, and the toys are there, and the wire fence sags where the lads have swung, and the paint is nicked where their feet have kicked, and a window shows where a ball was flung. And I think as I walk on that humble street, let mine be the house where the children meet. Let mine be the place where they romp and race. I can open the door with a smiling face. Let this army tramp in my yard and camp so long as they will, for the years roll on. And the day draws near when the silence here will tell to the world that our babes have gone. End of section 12.
Section 13 of Rhymes of Childhood by Edgar A. Guest. This LibriVox recording is in the public domain. Read by Phil Schempf. When We Were Kids. When we was kids together, and we didn't have a care, in the lazy days of summer when our feet was allus bare, when a hat warn't necessary and a necktie in the way, and there warn't a blessed thing to do but scamper off and play, then the sun meant something to us, and the blue skies overhead kinder stooped down in the meadows where the children was and said, "Trout are bitin' in the mill stream, hurry up and git your pole. Now's the time you should be hikin' to your favorite fishin' hole." When we was kids together, and there warn't a thing to fret, 'cept comin' home to mother with her hair suspicious wet, then the sunbeams and the songbirds used to come to us and say, "They are swimmin' in the river, better git there right away." As we passed 'em we could hear 'em laughin' splashin' down below. Then we hurried to the river just as fast as we could go, for there warn't a thing to keep us like there is now we are men, and the sunbeams and the songbirds and the skies meant something then. Now the same sunbeams come callin' and the same songbirds come near, and the same blue skies bend o'er me and their messages I hear. Every dancin' sunbeam tells me that out yonder in the stream now the pickerel are a bitin', but I only sit and dream. For I've journeyed past my boyhood, I'm a slave forevermore, and I must not heed their whispers as I used to do of yore. There are bills to meet and duties that I must not, dare not shirk. Mr. Sunbeam, quit your coaxin', it's no use, I've got to work. End of section 13.
Section 14 of Rhymes of Childhood by Edgar A. Guest. This LibriVox recording is in the public domain. Read by Jen Broda. A Baby in the House. Something to talk about, something to do, something to laugh at the whole day through, something to look at with pride and with glee, something for friends to come in just to see. Oh, you can't sum up all the wonderful things of joy and delight which a new baby brings. There's a smile that is brighter than sunbeams of May, a wave of farewell as you're starting away, a glad time of frolic which no one can steal, a thrill inexpressible, lovely to feel. There's something to boast of and something to tell when a baby has come to the place where you dwell. There's never an hour that is lonely or drear. The days are filled up to the top with good cheer. You have someone to play with and someone to sing to, someone to romp with and someone to cling to. And always you're finding some pleasure that's new when God has sent down a glad baby to you. End of section 14.
Section 15 of Rhymes of Childhood from Edgar A. Guest. This LibriVox recording is in the public domain. Read by Fernando Borrego. Our son. He's supposed to be our son, our hope and our pride. In him all the dreams of our future abide. But whenever some act to his credit occurs, I never am mentioned. The glory is hers. And whenever he's bad or has strayed from the line, then always she speaks of the rascal as mine. When trouble has come, she will soberly say, "Do you know what your son has been up to today? Your son spilled the ink on the living room floor. Your son broke the glass in the dining room door. I am telling you now, something has to be done. It is high time you started correcting your son." But when to the neighbors she boasts of his worth, it is, "My son's the best little boy on the earth." Accuse him of mischief, she'll just floor you flat with, "My son, I'm certain, would never do that." Of course, there are times when he's willfully bad, but then it's that temper he gets from his dad. End of section 15. Section 16 of Rhymes of Childhood by Edgar A. Guest. This LibriVox recording is in the public domain. Read by Fernando Borrego. Come back, you little feller. Come back, you little feller. Come back again to me. To walk the shady lanes once more and sail the golden sea. Come back unto your daddy, for I'm longing so today. To tread the paths of boyhood and to live the joys of May. Come back, you little feller, for my heart is aching so. Come back to go a-strollin' where the checkerberries grow. Come back, you little feller, oh, my heart is crying now. Come back with laughter and the sunshine in your brow. Come back to cheer your daddy, and we'll romp the world along. We'll scamper through the pastures and we'll sing a merry song. We'll roam the apple orchard and we'll hunt the honeybees. Come back to soothe your daddy, for my heart is ill at ease. Come back, you little feller, for today your daddy strolled along the pathways where we used to hunt for gold. Not a fairy came to cheer me, not an elfin laughed in glee, though I sought the self-same places where they always used to be, and the songbirds in the treetops seemed to sing as if they knew that my heart is calling, ever calling loud for you. Come back, you little feller. Don't you hear your daddy cry? Don't you hear him nightly pleading? Don't you hear his bitter sigh? For I'm lonely here without you, and the fields are lonely too, and the days have lost their sunshine, and the skies are never blue. So I wander through the meadows and the fields we used to roam, while my heart is ever calling, little feller, come back home. End of section 16.
Section 17 of Rhymes of Childhood by Edgar A. Guest. This LibriVox recording is in the public domain. Read by Larry Wilson. Sticky Fingers. Little sticky fingers, it is very plain to see with your pulling and your tugging that you make a wreck of me. There's a splotch upon my collar that is larger than $1, and my new and costly necktie is a positive disgrace. On the bosom of my shirt you have left a smear of dirt, and something seems to tell me there is butter on my face. Little sticky fingers, what's a grown-up man to do when he comes downstairs o'-mornings to a laughing babe like you? And your arms are held out, shaking for a bit of merry-making, and those chubby little fingers and those rosy little thumbs seem to dance and throb with glee. Would any daddy flee to save his spotless collar from the butter and the crumbs? Little sticky fingers, as a gentleman is dressed, I have held you on my shoulder and I've hugged you to my breast, while those little hands were pressing all the signs of their caressing on my white and shining raiment, and I've seen the people smile at my collar sadly soiled, where your rosy thumbs had moiled. But linen doesn't matter, it is only pomp and style. Little sticky fingers, stamp your seals of love on me. Press those hands upon my collar, and it's happy I will be. Oh, it's little I am caring for the linen I am wearing. I would rather own those smudges than the jewels of a king. I would rather folks could see every stain you leave on me than to wear a spotless collar where no sticky fingers cling. End of section 17.
Section 18 of Rhymes of Childhood by Edgar A. Guest. This LibriVox recording is in the public domain. Read by Trax. Janet's Morning Bath. I've seen some lovely sights, I think. A rosebud bursting into pink, a distant hilltop drenched with gold, a tree with all that it could hold of blossoms in the early spring. But there can be no lovelier thing among the beauties nature hath than little Janet in her bath. Come upstairs now with me and see our baby on her mother's knee, and watch this glad performance through. A pretty sight I'll show to you, fairer than any landscape scene, or silver brook, or meadow green. I'll show you dimpled legs and arms, and babyhood with all its charms. I'm sorry for the man who hath not seen a baby in her bath. For be he old and be he wise, he does not know the charm which lies in tiny bodies plump and sweet, and little toes on rosy feet, nor does he know how fair to see a baby in her bath can be. End of section 18. Recording by Trax, Bangalore, India. www.humanityhelps.me. Section 19 of Rhymes of Childhood by Edgar A. Guest. This LibriVox recording is in the public domain. Read by Trax. The Family Disgrace. Whenever I come where the old folks is, just look at your hand, says Ma. And Sis says, my, though it's none of her biz. And look at his neck, says Pa. And look at the mud on his stockings too, and look at his dirty face. It ain't a week since his shoes were new. Oh, it's awful tough when you know that you are the family's one disgrace. Just look how the seat of his pants is worn. Did you ever see such hair? And that is his very best blouse that's torn, and his coat's got another tear. He might be a rat because boy says Ma, the alley is about his place. He ought to be spanked, that's what, says Pa. Oh, it's awful tough when you know that you are the family's one disgrace. Now what's he got in his pockets, pray, and where does he get such things? And why does he bulge out his clothes that way with marbles and tops and strings? Don't you dare to sit down till you've been upstairs and scrub both your hands and your face. My goodness, don't handle those poor tears. Oh, nobody loves and nobody cares for the family's one disgrace. End of section 19. Recording by Trax, Bangalore, India. www.humanityhelps.me.
Section 20 of Rhymes of Childhood by Edgar A. Guest. This LibriVox recording is in the public domain. Read by Larry Wilson. The Lanes of Boyhood. Down the lanes of boyhood let me go once more. Let me tread the paths of youth that I have trod before. Let me wander once again where the skies are bright, freckled faced and tanned of leg, roadways of delight, picking checkerberries as I laze along the way, hunting for the robin's nest, dozing in the hay. Down the lanes of boyhood there are joys untold, hidden caves of precious things, stores of yellow gold, friends that only boyhood knows, birds and trees and flowers, nodding to the youngsters, howdy-do, in morning hours. Skies that bend above them in the gentlest sort of way, fleecy clouds that seem to stop and watch them at their play. Down the lanes of boyhood, hear their laughter ring. See the tasseled army marching straightway to the spring. Flat upon the ground they fall, just to get a drink. Here's a thirst emporium where glasses never clink. No glittering place of red and gold the passer-by to snare, yet rich with nature's coloring, 1,000 times more rare. Down the lanes of boyhood, where innocence abounds, a medley of colors, a revelry of sounds, where hearts are never broken and wrong is never known, where sorrow never enters and no one weeps alone. And yet we never can return when once we've journeyed on. Old age is ever wishing for the joys forever gone. End of section 20.
Section 21 of Rhymes of Childhood by Edgar A. Guest. This LibriVox recording is in the public domain. Read by Fernando Borrego. Fractions. I hadn't asked about it for a week or two, and so the stage of his arithmetic I really didn't know. I had watched him through addition and division and the rest, but I really wasn't certain just how far he had progressed, till I saw him sitting, troubled, and I knew it from his actions, from the way he chewed his pencil, that he had journeyed into fractions. He sprawled upon the table, and he twisted in his chair. He sat and fumbled sadly with a tangled lock of hair. He muttered and he sputtered, and he gazed about the room, a puzzled little fellow in a cloud of darkest gloom. Then I softly asked him, "Sonny, what's the cause of these distractions?" And he shook his head and answered, "Aw, gee whiz, we're into fractions." Oh, the time was I was like him. Once I wore that troubled look. Once I chewed my bit of pencil, and I fumbled with the book. Once I sprawled upon the table, and was floundering about, in a labyrinth of darkness and a dreadful mire of doubt. And I chuckled as I saw him reproduce my troubled actions, when my youthful head was bothered by the mystery of fractions. End of section 21.
Section 22 of Rhymes of Childhood by Edgar A. Guest. This LibriVox recording is in the public domain. Read by Wayne Perry. The Human Stagecoach. 20 times a day we go, round about the room just so, stopping here to watch the clock, pausing here a chair to rock, standing here to see the light on and off, now dark, now bright, here to watch the sunbeams creep on a painted flock of sheep. Here's a merry round to make, here's a wonder ride to take, same old glorious sights to view, never changed but always new. Starting at the clock we go to the joys she's learned to know. She's the driver, I'm the stage, bound for the canary cage. Nothing must be missed at all, on the shelf or on the wall. This old battered coach must make every stop for pleasure's sake. Ooh, she cries, and that's a hint, something she would fingerprint. Wheresoever we have been, there her thumb marks may be seen. Which is happier, driver, stage, babyhood or gray-haired age? Well, her smiles are fair to see, but the coach I'm proud to be, glad that I can make the trip, out and back without a slip, proud to be her daily stage, bound for the canary cage. End of section 22. Recording by Wayne Perry.
Section 23 of Rhymes of Childhood by Edgar A. Guest. This LibriVox recording is in the public domain. Read by Phil Shempf. A rough little rascal. A smudge on his nose and a smear on his cheek, and knees that might not have been washed in a week. A bump on his forehead, a scar on his lip, a relic of many a tumble and trip. A rough little tough little rascal, but sweet is he that each evening I'm eager to meet. A brow that is beady with jewels of sweat, a face that's as black as a visage can get, a suit that at noon was a garment of white, now one that his mother declares is a fright. A fun-loving, sun-loving rascal, and fine is he that comes placing his black fist in mine. A crop of brown hair that is tousled and tossed, a waist from which two of the buttons are lost, a smile that shines out through the dirt and the grime, and eyes that are flashing delight all the time. All these are the joys that I'm eager to meet, and look for the moment I get to my street. End of section 23.
Section 24 of Rhymes of Childhood by Edgar A. Guest. This LibriVox recording is in the public domain. Read by Dia Khurana. At 16 months. At 16 months, when they start to walk, and a few brief words is their sum of talk. When they smile is a marvelous joy to see, and they want to ride on their daddy's knee. When you get tired, but they never do, for everything in this world is new. It's then, I say, that a baby pays for all her care in her helpless days. At 16 months, when they crow with glee, and their arms reach up for things they see, when a smile breaks out on that cherub face, the minute you call from your hiding place, when you know how the worst of you spoils your worth, but to her you're the greatest man on earth. It's then, I say, that you're downright glad the good Lord chose you to be a dad. At 16 months, let me say to you, there's a thrill in everything babies do. They'll keep you going and wear you out. They'll cling to your hand as you walk about. But you laugh and sing and boast your fill of your marvelous baby. Oh yes, you will. For at 16 months, I am here to state, every baby, in spite of its dad, is great. End of section 24. Read by Dia Khurana. Section 25 of Rhymes of Childhood by Edgar A. Guest. This LibriVox recording is in the public domain. Read by Dia Khurana. Baby feet. Tell me what is half so sweet as a baby's tiny feet, pink and dainty as can be, like a coral from the sea. Talk of jewels strung in rows, gaze upon those little toes, fairer than a diadem, with the mother kissing them. It is morning, and she lies, uttering her happy cries, while her little hands reach out for the feet that fly about. Then I go to her and blow laughter out of every toe, hold her high and let her place tiny footprints on my face. Little feet that do not know where the winding roadways go, little feet that never tire, feel the stones or trudge the mire, still too pink and still too small to do anything but crawl, thinking all their wanderings fair, filled with wonders everywhere. Little feet so rich with charm, may you never come to harm, as I bend and proudly blow laughter out of every toe. This I pray, that God above shall protect you with his love, and shall guide those little feet safely down life's broader street. End of section 25. Read by Dia Khurana.
Section 26 of Rhymes of Childhood by Edgar A. Guest. This LibriVox recording is in the public domain. Read by Jen Broda. A Fairy Story. Sit here on my knee, little girl, and I'll tell a story to you of a fairy I knew who lived in a garden when I was a child. She was lovely to see, and whenever she smiled, the sunbeams came dancing around just to know whatever it was that was pleasing her so. She lived in a poppy and used to peek out and shout, "Oh, you-hoo, I've been waiting for you." And then I'd go over to her house and play, and she'd saddle a bee, and we'd both ride away. Or sometimes we'd take a most wonderful trip, with the sky for the sea and a cloud for our ship. Oft my father and mother would look out and say, "The glad little elf plays there all by himself, and he comes in and tells us of things he has seen, and the marvelous places to which he has been. He tells us of dining with princes and kings. It's a curious boy who can think up such things." Now this all occurred in the long years ago, and the fairy has fled, and the poppies are dead, and never again may I ride on a bee, or sail on a cloud with the sky for the sea. But that fairy has promised, when poppies are fair, to come back again and to wait for you there. Yes, you can go out when the skies are all blue, and see what I've seen, and go where I've been. You can have the fairies to lead you away, to show you strange sights and to share in your play. And the grown-ups may say that your fancies are wild, but fairies are real to an innocent child. End of section 26.
Section 27 of Rhymes of Childhood by Edgar A. Guest. This LibriVox recording is in the public domain. Read by Dia Khurana. Where's Mama? Comes in flying from the street. Where's Mama? Friend or stranger, thus he'll greet. Where's Mama? Doesn't want to say hello. Home from school or play he'll go. Straight to what he wants to know. Where's Mama? Many times a day he'll shout, "Where's Mama?" Seems afraid that she's gone out. "Where's Mama?" In his first thought at the door. She's the one he's looking for. And he questions over and over, "Where's Mama?" Can't be happy till he knows. Where's Mama? So he begs us to disclose, "Where's Mama?" And it often seems to me, as I hear his anxious plea, that no sweeter phrase can be, "Where's Mama?" Like to hear it day by day. "Where's Mama?" Loveliest phrase that lips can say. "Where's Mama?" And I pray as time shall flow, and the long years come and go, that he'll always want to know, "Where's Mama?" End of section 27. Read by Dia Khurana. Section 28 of Rhymes of Childhood by Edgar A. Guest. This LibriVox recording is in the public domain. Read by Dia Khurana. The Boy and the Flag. I want my boy to love his home, his mother, yes, and me. I want him, wheresoever he'll roam, with us in thought to be. I want him to love what is fine, nor let his standards drag. But oh, I want that boy of mine to love his country's flag. I want him, when he older grows, to love all things of earth. And oh, I want him, when he knows, to choose the things of worth. I want him to the heights to climb, nor let ambition lag. But oh, I want him all the time to love his country's flag. I want my boy to know the best. I want him to be great. I want him in life's distant west, prepared for any fate. I want him to be simple too, though clever, never to brag. But oh, I want him, through and through, to love his country's flag. I want my boy to be a man, and yet, in distant years, I pray that he'll have eyes that can not quite keep back the tears, when, coming from some foreign shore, and alien scenes that fag, born on its native frieze, once more he sees his country's flag. End of section 28. Read by Dia Khurana.
Section 29 of Rhymes of Childhood by Edgar A. Guest. This LibriVox recording is in the public domain. Read by Francesco Dembinski. When a Little Baby Dies. When a little baby dies, and the wee form silent lies, and the little cheeks seem waxen, and the little hands are still. Then your soul gives away to treason, and you cry, O God, what reason? Oh, what justice and what mercy have you shown us by your will? Oh, there are so many here of the yellow leaf and sere, who are anxious, and ready to respond unto your call. Yet you pass them by unheeding, and you set our hearts to bleeding. Oh, how bitterly upon us do your vaunted mercies fall. Yet some day, in after years, when death's angel once more nears, and the unknown, silent river looms as darkly as a pall, you will hear your baby saying, Mamma, come to me, I am staying with my arms outstretched to greet you, and you'll understand it all. End of section 29. Recording by Francesco Dembinski.
Section 30 of Rhymes of Childhood by Edgar A. Guest. This LibriVox recording is in the public domain. Read by Larry Wilson. A Boy and His Stomach.
What's the matter with you? Ain't I always been your friend? Ain't I been a partner to you? All my pennies don't I spend in gettin' nice things for you? Don't I give you lots of cake? Say, stomach, what's the matter that you had to go and ache? Why, I loaded you with good things. Yesterday I gave you more potatoes, squash, and turkey than you'd ever had before. I gave you nuts and candy, punkin pie and chocolate cake. And last night, when I got to bed, you had to go and ache. Say, what's the matter with you? Ain't you satisfied at all? I gave you all you wanted. You was hard just like a ball. And you couldn't hold another bit of puddin'. Yet last night you ached most awful, stomach. That ain't treatin' me just right. I've been a friend to you, I have. Why, ain't you a friend of mine? They gave me castor oil last night because you made me whine. I'm awful sick this morning, and I'm feeling mighty blue because you don't appreciate the things I do for you.
End of section 30.
Section 31 of Rhymes of Childhood by Edgar A. Guest. This LibriVox recording is in the public domain. Read by Jen Broda. Lullaby. The golden dreamboat's ready, all her silken sails are spread, and the breeze is gently blowing to the fairy port of bed. And the fairy captain's waiting while the busy Sandman flies, with the silver dust of slumber closing every baby's eyes. Oh, the night is rich with moonlight, and the sea is calm with peace, and the angels fly to guard you, and their watch shall never cease. And the fairies there await you, they have splendid dreams to spin. You shall hear them gaily singing as the dreamboat's putting in. Like the ripple of water does the dreamboat's whistle blow, only baby ears can catch it when it comes the time to go. Only little ones may journey on so wonderful a ship, and go drifting off to slumber with no care to mar the trip. Oh, the little eyes are heavy, but the little soul is light. It shall never know a sorrow or a terror through the night. And at last, when dawn is breaking, and the dreamboat's trip is o'er, you shall wake to find the mother smiling over you once more. End of section 31.
Section 32 of Rhymes of Childhood by Edgar A. Guest. This LibriVox recording is in the public domain. Read by Phil Schempf. The Man to Be. Some day the world will need a man of courage in a time of doubt, and somewhere, as a little boy, that future hero plays about. Within some humble home, no doubt, that instrument of greater things now climbs upon his father's knee, or to his mother's garments clings. And when shall come that call for him to render service that is fine, he that shall do God's mission here may be your little boy or mine. Long years of preparation mark the pathway for the splendid souls, and generations live and die and seem no nearer to their goals. And yet the purpose of it all, the fleeting pleasure and the woe, the laughter and the grief of life that all who come to earth must know, may be to pave the way for one man to serve the will divine. And it is possible that he may be your little boy or mine. Some day the world will need a man. I stand beside his cot at night and wonder if I'm teaching him as best I can to know the right. I am the father of a boy. His life is mine to make or mar, for he no better can become than what my daily teachings are. There will be need for someone great. I dare not falter from the line. The man that is to serve the world may be that little boy of mine. Perhaps your boy or mine may not ascend the lofty heights of fame. The orders for their births are hid. We know not why to earth they came. Yet in some little bed tonight the great man of tomorrow sleeps, and only he who sent him here the secret of his purpose keeps. As fathers, then, our care is this, to keep in mind the great design. The man the world shall need some day may be your little boy or mine. End of section 32.
Section 33 of Rhymes of Childhood by Edgar A. Guest. This LibriVox recording is in the public domain. Read by Francesca Dembinski. The Summer Children. I like them in the winter when their cheeks are slightly pale. I like them in the springtime when the March winds blow a gale. But when summer suns have tanned them and they're racing to and fro, I somehow think the children make the finest sort of show. When they're brown as little berries and they're bare of foot and head, and they are on the go each minute where the velvet lawns are spread, then their health is at its finest and they never stop to rest. Oh, it's then I think the children look and are their very best. We've got to know the winter and we've got to know the spring. But for children, could I do it? Unto summer I would cling. For I'm happiest when I see him, as a wild and merry band of healthy, lusty youngsters that the summer sun has tanned. End of section 33. Recording by Francesca Dembinski.
Section 34 of Rhymes of Childhood by Edgar A. Guest. This LibriVox recording is in the public domain. The Old Wooden Tub. I like to get to thinking of the old days that are gone, when there were joys that never more the world will look upon. The days before inventors smoothed the little cares away, and made what seemed but luxuries then, the joys of every day. When bathrooms were exceptions, and we got our weekly scrub by standing in the middle of a little wooden tub. We had no rapid heaters and no blazing gas to burn. We boiled the water on the stove, and each one took his turn. Sometimes, to save expenses, we would use one tub for two. The water brother Billy used, for me would also do. Although an extra kettle I was granted, I admit, on winter nights to freshen and to warm it up a bit. We carried water up the stairs in buckets and in pails, and sometimes splashed it on our legs and rent the air with wails. But if the nights were very cold, by closing every door, we were allowed to take our bath upon the kitchen floor. Beside the cheery stove we stood, and gave ourselves a rub, in comfort most luxurious, in that old wooden tub. But modern homes no more go through that joyous weekly fun, and through the sitting rooms at night no half-dried children run. No little flying forms go past, too swift to see their charms, with shirts and underwear and things tucked underneath their arms. The home's so full of luxury now, it's almost like a club. I sometimes wish we could go back to that old wooden tub. End of section 34.
Section number 35 of Rhymes of Childhood by Edgar A. Guest. This LibriVox recording is in the public domain. Read by Thomas Dorrington Hardeen. Dr. Johnson's Picture Cow. Got a sliver in my hand, and it hurt to beat the band, and got white around it too. Then the first thing that I knew, it was all swelled up, and Pa said, "There's no use fussin', Ma. Just put on his coat and hat. Dr. Johnson must see that." I was scared and yelled, because one time when the doctor was at our house, he made me smell something funny and I fell fast asleep, and when I woke, seemed like I was going to choke. And the folks who stood about said I'd had my tonsils out, and my throat felt awful sore, and I couldn't eat no more, and it hurt me when I'd talk, and they wouldn't let me walk. So when Pa said I must go to the doctor's, I said, "No, I don't want to go tonight, 'cause my hand will be all right." Pa said, "Take him, Ma," and so I just knew I had to go. And the doctor looked and said, "It is very sore and red, much too sore to touch at all. See that picture on the wall? That one over yonder, bud, with the old cow in the mud. Once I owned a cow like that, just as brown and big and fat. And one day I pulled her tail, and she kicked and knocked the pail full of milk clean over me. Then I looked up to see his old cow above the couch, and right then I hollered, 'Ouch!' 'Bud,' says he, 'what's wrong with you? Did the old cow kick you too?' And he laughed, and Ma said, 'Son, never mind now, it's all done.' Pretty soon we came away, and my hand's all well today. But that's first time that I knew picture cows could kick at you." End of section 35. Recording by Thomas Dorrington Hardeen. Section 36 of Rhymes of Childhood by Edgar A. Guest. This LibriVox recording is in the public domain. Read by Thomas Dorrington Hardeen. The Approach of Christmas. There's a little chap at our house that is being mighty good. Keeps the front lawn looking tidy in the way we've said he should. Doesn't leave his little wagon when he's finished with his play on the sidewalk as he used to. Now he puts it right away. When we call him into supper, we don't have to stand and shout. It's getting on to Christmas, and it's plain he's found it out. He eats the food we give him without murmur or complaint. He sits up at the table like a cherub or a saint. He doesn't pinch his sister just to hear how loud she'll squeal. Doesn't ask us to excuse him in the middle of the meal. And at 8 o'clock he's willing to be tucked away in bed. It's getting close to Christmas. Nothing further need be said. I chuckle every evening as I see that little elf, with the crooked part proclaiming that he's brushed his hair himself. And I chuckle as I notice that his hands and face are clean. For in him a perfect copy of another boy is seen, a little boy at Christmas who was also being good, never guessing that his father and his mother understood. There's a little boy at our house that is being mighty good, doing everything that's proper, doing everything he should. But besides him, there's a grown-up who has learned life's bitter truth, who is gladly living over all the joys of vanished youth. And although he little knows it, for it's what I never knew, there's a mighty happy father sitting at the table too. End of section 36. Recording by Thomas Dorrington Hardeen.
Section 37 of Rhymes of Childhood by Edgar A. Guest. This LibriVox recording is in the public domain. Read by Phil Shempf. A Boy and His Dog. A boy and his dog make a glorious pair. No better friendship is found anywhere. For they talk and they walk, and they run and they play, and they have their deep secrets for many a day. And that boy has a comrade who thinks and who feels, who walks down the road with the dog at his heels. He may go where he will, and his dog will be there, may revel in mud, and his dog will not care. Faithful, he'll stay for the slightest command, and bark with delight at the touch of his hand. Oh, he owns a treasure which nobody steals, who walks down the road with a dog at his heels. No other can lure him away from his side. He's proof against riches and station and pride. Fine dress does not charm him, and flattery's breath is lost on the dog, for he's faithful to death. He sees the great soul which the body conceals, and it's great to be young with a dog at your heels. End of section 37.
Section 38 of Rhymes of Childhood by Edgar A. Guest. This LibriVox recording is in the public domain. Read by Jen Broda. Boy or girl? Some folks pray for a boy, and some for a golden-haired little girl to come. Some claim to think there is more of joy wrapped up in the smile of a little boy, while others pretend that the silky curls and plump pink cheeks of the little girls bring more of bliss to the old home place than a small boy's queer little freckled face. Now which is better, I couldn't say, if the Lord should ask me to choose today. If he should put in a call for me and say, "Now what shall your order be, a boy or girl? I have both in store. Which of the two are you waiting for?" I'd say with one of my broadest grins, "Send either one, if it can't be twins." I've heard it said, to some people's shame, they cried with grief when a small boy came, for they wanted a girl. And some folks I know, who wanted a boy, just took on so when a girl was sent. But it seems to me that mothers and fathers should happy be to think, when the stork has come and gone, that the Lord would trust them with either one. Boy or girl, there can be no choice. There's something lovely in either voice. And all that I ask of the Lord to do is to see that the mother comes safely through, and guard the baby and have it well, with a perfect form and a healthy yell, and a pair of eyes and a shock of hair. Then, boy or girl, and its dad won't care. End of section 38.
Section 39 of Rhymes of Childhood by Edgar A. Guest. This LibriVox recording is in the public domain. Read by Fernando Borrego. Wait till your pa comes home. Wait till your pa comes home! Oh dear, what a dreadful threat for a boy to hear. Yet never a boy of 3 or 4 but has heard it 1,000 times or more. Wait till your pa comes home, my lad, and see what you'll get for being bad. Wait till your pa comes home, you scamp. You've soiled the walls with your fingers damp. You've tracked the floor with your muddy feet and fought with the boy across the street. You've torn your clothes and you look a sight. But wait till your pa comes home tonight. Now, since I'm the paw of that daily threat, which paints me as black as a thing of jet, I rise in protest right here to say, I won't be used in so fierce a way. No child of mine in the evening gloam shall be afraid of my coming home. I want him waiting for me at night with eyes that glisten with real delight. When it's right that punished my boy should be, I don't want my job postponed for me. I want to come home to a round of joy, and not to frighten a little boy. Wait till your pa comes home. Oh dear, what a dreadful threat for a boy to hear. Yet that is ever his mother's way of saving herself from a bitter day. And well she knows in the evening gloam he won't be hurt when his pa comes home. End of section 39.
Section 40 of Rhymes of Childhood by Edgar A. Guest. This LibriVox recording is in the public domain. Read by Wayne Cook. Nothing to laugh at.
"'Tain't nothing to laugh at as I can see. If you'd been stung by a bumblebee and your nose was swelled and it smarted too, you wouldn't want people to laugh at you. If you had a lump that was full of fire, like you'd been touched by red-hot wire, and your nose spread out like a load of hay, you wouldn't want strangers who came your way to ask you to let 'em see the place and laugh at you right before your face. What's funny about it, I'd like to know? It isn't a joke to be hurted so. And how was I ever on earth to tell that the pretty flower which I stooped to smell in our backyard was the very one which a bee was busily working on? And just as I got my nose down there, he lifted his foot and kicked for fair, and he planted his stinger right into me. But it's nothing to laugh at, as I can see. I let out a yell, and my ma came out to see what the trouble was all about. She says from my shriek she was sure I'd been struck by a motor car passing by. But when she found what the matter was, she laughed just like everybody does. And she made me stand while she poked about to pull his terrible stinger out. And my pa laughed too, when he looked at me. But that's nothing to laugh at, as I can see. My ma put witch hazel on the spot to take down the swelling, but it has not. It seems to get bigger as time goes by, and I can't see good out of this one eye, and it hurts clean down to my very toes whenever I've got to blow my nose. And all I can say is when this thing gets well, there ain't any flowers I'll stoop to smell. I'm through disturbing a bumblebee, but it's nothing to laugh at, as I can see.
End of section 40. Section 41 of Rhymes of Childhood by Edgar A. Guest. This LibriVox recording is in the public domain. Read by Wayne Cook. Teach them of the flag. Teach the children of the flag. Let them know the joy it holds in its sun-kissed rippling folds. Don't let patriotism lag. Train them so that they will love every star and stripe above. As you teach their lips to pray, teach them always to be true to the red, white, and blue. Praise the flag from day to day. Tell the children at your knee all the joys of liberty. Let them know and understand how the flag was born and why. Tell how brave men went to die gladly for their native land. Whisper to them that they must make the flag their sacred trust. Love of country ever starts in the home and at your knee. There the flag shall come to be shrined in patriotic hearts. They shall gladly serve their land when they know and understand. End of section 41.
Section 42 of Rhymes of Childhood by Edgar A. Guest. This LibriVox recording is in the public domain. Read by Larry Wilson. Daddies. I would rather be the daddy of a romping, roguish crew, of a bright-eyed, chubby laddie, and a little girl or two, than the monarch of a nation in his high and lofty seat, taking empty adoration from the subjects at his feet. I would rather own their kisses as at night to me they run, than to be the king who misses all the simpler forms of fun. When his dreary day is ending, he is dismally alone. But when my sun is descending, there are joys for me to own. He may ride to horns and drumming, I must walk a quiet street. But when once they see me coming, then on joyous flying feet they come racing to me madly, and I catch them with a swing, and I say it proudly, gladly, that I'm happier than a king. You may talk of lofty places, you may boast of pomp and power, men may turn their eager faces to the glory of an hour, but give me the humble station, with its joys that long survive, for the daddies of the nation are the happiest men alive. End of section 42.
Section 43 of Rhymes of Childhood by Edgar A. Guest. This LibriVox recording is in the public domain. Read by Jen Broda. The Toy-Strewn Home. Give me the house where the toys are strewn, where the dolls are asleep in the chairs, where the building blocks and the toy balloon and the soldiers guard the stairs. Let me step in a house where the tiny cart with the horses rules the floor, and rest comes into my weary heart, for I am at home once more. Give me the house with the toys about, with the battered old train of cars, the box of paints and the books left out, and the ship with her broken spars. Let me step in a house at the close of the day that is littered with children's toys, and dwell once more in the haunts of play with the echoes of bygone noise. Give me the house where the toys are seen, and the house where the children romp, and I'll happier be than man has been 'neath the gilded dome of pomp. Let me see the litter of bright-eyed play strewn over the parlor floor, and the joys I knew in a far-off day will gladden my heart once more. Whoever has lived in a toy-strewn home, though feeble he be and gray, will yearn, no matter how far he roam, for the glorious disarray of the little home with its littered floor that was his in the bygone days, and his heart will throb as it throbbed before when he rests where a baby plays. End of section 43.
Section 44 of Rhymes of Childhood by Edgar A. Guest. This LibriVox recording is in the public domain. Read by Greg Dietz. Last night the baby cried. Last night the baby cried, and I, roused from a sound and soothing sleep, wondered to hear that little cry. For 10 long years in slumber deep I've lived my nights, and so it seemed that what I'd heard I'd only dreamed. For 10 long years a banging gate, the milkman's whistle, or the horn of motors driven at rapid rate have wakened me at early dawn. But late last night awake was I, thinking I'd heard a baby cry. I leaned upon my elbow there, and wondered, did I dream or not? But once again upon the air the call came from her tiny cot. Then peacefully I turned and smiled to hear the crying of our child. Lonely and still the house has seemed for 10 long years, but once again we have the joy of which we dreamed, the joy which many seek in vain. O happy, happy home, thought I, that wakes to hear a baby cry. End of section 44. Recording by Greg Dietz.
Section 45 of Rhymes of Childhood by Edgar A. Guest. This LibriVox recording is in the public domain. Read by Sarah Brown. Little Fisherman. A little ship goes out to sea as soon as we have finished tea. Off yonder where the big moon glows, this tiny little vessel goes. But never grown-up eyes have seen the ports to which this ship has been. Upon the shore the old folks stand, till morning brings it back to land. In search of smiles this little ship each evening starts upon a trip. Just smiles enough to last the day is it allowed to bring away.
So nightly to some golden shore it must set out alone for more, and sail the rippling sea for miles, until the hold is full of smiles. By gentle hands the sails are spread, the stars are glistening overhead, and in that hour when tiny ships prepare to make their evening trips, the sea becomes a wondrous place, as beautiful as mother's face, and all the day's disturbing cries give way to soothing lullabies. No clang of bell or warning shout is heard on shore when they put out. The little vessels slip away as silently as does the day, and all night long on sands of gold they cast their nets and fill the hold, with smiles and joy beyond compare, to cheer a world that's sad with care. End of section 45.
Section 46 of Rhymes of Childhood by Edgar A. Guest. This LibriVox recording is in the public domain. Read by Wayne Cook. The Cookie Lady. She is gentle, kind, and fair, and there's silver in her hair. She has known the touch of sorrow, but the smile of her is sweet. And sometimes it seems to me that her mission is to be the gracious cookie lady to the youngsters of the street. All the children in the block daily stand beside the crock where she keeps the sugar cookies that the little folks enjoy. And no morning passes o'er that a tapping at her door doesn't warn her of the visit of a certain little boy. She has made him feel that he has a natural right to be in her kitchen when she's baking pies and cakes and gingerbread. And each night, to me, he brings all the pretty, tender things about little bygone children that the cookie lady said. Oh, dear cookie lady sweet, may you beautify our street with your kind and gentle presence many more glad years, I pray. May the skies be bright above you, as you've taught our babes to love you. You will scar their hearts with sorrow if ever you go away. Life is strange, and when I scan it, I believe God tries to plan it so that where he sends his babies in that neighborhood to dwell, one of rare and gracious beauty shall abide, whose sweetest duty is to be the cookie lady that the children love so well. End of section 46.
Section 47 of Rhymes of Childhood by Edgar A. Guest. This LibriVox recording is in the public domain. Read by Mithali Ohri. Being brave at night. The other night, about 2 o'clock, or maybe it was 3, an elephant with shining tusks came chasing after me. His trunk was waving in the air and spouting jets of steam, and he was out to eat me up. But still, I didn't scream or let him see that I was scared. A better thought I had. I just escaped from where I was and crawled in bed with Dad. One time, there was a giant who was horrible to see. He had 3 heads and 20 arms, and he come after me. And red-hot fire came from his mouth, and every hand was red. And he declared that he would grind my bones and make them into bread. But I was just too smart for him. I fooled him mighty bad. Before his hands could collar me, I crawled in bed with Dad. I ain't scared of nothing that comes pestering me at night. Once I was chased by 40 cows, all shimmery and white. I just raced them round the room and let them think maybe I had have to stop and rest a while when they could capture me. Then when they leapt onto my bed, oh gee, but they were mad to find that I had slipped away and crawled in bed with Dad. No giants ghost or elephant have dared to come in there, 'cause if they did, he would beat them up and chase them to their lair. They just hang around the children's room and snap and snarl and bite and laugh if they can make them yell for help with all their might. But I don't ever yell out loud. I'm not that sort of lad. I slip from out the covers and I crawl in bed with Dad. End of section 47. Recording by Mithali Uhuri.
Section 48 of Rhymes of Childhood by Edgar A. Guest. This LibriVox recording is in the public domain. Read by Garfield D'Souza. Pleasure Signs. There's a bump on his brow and a smear on his cheek that is plainly the stain of his tears. At his neck there's a glorious sun-painted streak, the bronze of his happiest years. Oh, he's battered and bruised at the end of the day, but smiling before me he stands. And somehow I like to behold him that way. Yes, I like him with dirt on his hands. Last evening he painfully limped up to me, his tale of adventure to tell. He showed me a grime-covered cut on his knee, and told me the place where he fell. His clothing was stained to the colour of clay, and he looked to be nobody's lad. But somehow I liked to behold him that way, for it spoke of the fun that he'd had. Let women-folk prate as they will of a boy who is heedless of knickers and shirt. I hold that the badge of a young fellow's joy are cheeks that are covered with dirt. So I look for him nightly to greet me that way, his joys and misfortunes to tell. For I know by the signs that he wears of his play, that the lad I'm so fond of is well. End of section 48.
Section 49 of Rhymes of Childhood by Edgar A. Guest. This LibriVox recording is in the public domain. Read by Trax. Little Girls. God made the little boys for fun, for rough and tumble times of play. He made their little legs to run and race and scamper through the day. He made them strong for climbing trees. He suited them for horns and drums, and filled them full of revelries so they could be their father's chums. But then he saw that gentle ways must also travel from above, and so through all our troubled days he sent us little girls to love. He knew that earth would never do unless a bit of heaven it had. Men needed eyes divinely blue to toil by day and still be glad. A world where only men and boys made merry would in time grow stale, and so he shared his heavenly joys that faith in him should never fail. He sent us down 1,000 charms. He decked our ways with golden curls, and laughing eyes and dimpled arms. He let us have his little girls. They are the tenderest of his flowers, the little angels of his flock, and we may keep and call them ours until God's messenger shall knock. They bring to us the gentleness and beauty that we sorely need. They soothe us with each fond caress and strengthen us for every deed. And happy should that mortal be whom God has trusted through the years to guard a little girl and see that she is kept from pain and tears. End of section 49. Recording by Trax, Bangalore, India. www.humanityhelps.me.
Section 50 of Rhymes of Childhood by Edgar A. Guest. This LibriVox recording is in the public domain. Recording by Wayne Perry. Dinner time. Tugging at your bottle, and it's oh, you're mighty sweet. Just a bunch of dimples from your topknot to your feet. Lying there and gooing in the happiest sort of way, like a rosebud peeking at me in the early hours of day. Gloating over goodness that you know and sense and clutch, and smiling at your daddy who loves you oh so much. Tugging at your bottle as you nestle in your crib with your daddy grinning at you 'cause you've dribbled on your bib, and you gurgle and you chortle like a brook in early spring, and you kick your pink feet gaily, and I think you'd like to sing. All you wanted was your dinner, daddy knew it too, you bet, and the moment that you got it, then you ceased to fuss and fret. Tugging at your bottle, not a care, excepting when you lose the rubber nipple, but you find it soon again. And the gurgling and the gooing and the chortling start anew, and the kicking and the squirming show the wondrous joy o' you. But I'll bet you're not as happy at your dinner, little tot, as the weather-beaten daddy who is bending o'er your cot. End of section 50. Recording by Wayne Perry. Section 51 of Rhymes of Childhood by Edgar A. Guest. This LibriVox recording is in the public domain. Read by Wayne Perry. Castor Oil. I don't mind lickings now and then, and I can even stand it when my mother calls me in from play to run some errand right away. There's things about being just a boy that ain't all happiness and joy, but I suppose I've got to stand my share of trouble in this land. And I ain't kicking much, but say, the worst of parents is that they don't realize just how they spoil a feller's life with castor oil. Of all the awful stuff, gee whiz, that is the very worst there is. And every time if I complain or say I've got a little pain, there's nothing else that they can think 'cept castor oil for me to drink. I notice, though, when Pa is ill, that he gets fixed up with a pill. And Pa don't handle Mother rough and make her swallow nasty stuff. But when I've got a little ache, it's castor oil I've got to take. I don't mind going up to bed afore I get the chapter read. I don't mind being scolded, too, for lots of things I didn't do. But, gee, I hate it when they say, "Come, swallow this and right away." Let poets sing about the joy it is to be a little boy. I'll tell the truth about my case. The poets here can have my place, and I will take their life of toil if they will take my castor oil. End of section 51. Recording by Wayne Perry.
Section 52 of Rhymes of Childhood by Edgar A. Guest. This LibriVox recording is in the public domain. Read by Fernando Borrego. At dawn. They come to my room at the break of the day, with their faces all smiles and their minds full of play. They come on their tiptoes and silently creep to the edge of the bed where I am lying asleep. And then at a signal on which they agree, with a shout of delight they jump right onto me. They lift up my eyelids and tickle my nose, and scratch at my cheeks with their little pink toes. And sometimes to give them a laugh and a scare, I snap and I growl like a cinnamon bear. Then over I roll, and with 3 kids astride, I gallop away on their feather bed ride. I've thought it all over. Man's biggest mistake is in wanting to sleep when his babes are awake. When they come to his room for that first bit of fun, he should make up his mind that his sleeping is done. He should share in the laughter they bring to his side, and to start off that day with that feather bed ride. Oh, they're fun at their breakfast and fun at their lunch. Any hour of the day, they're a glorious bunch. When they're togged up for Sundays, they're certainly fine. And I'm glad in my heart I can call them all mine. But I think that the time that I like them the best is that hour in the morning before they are dressed. End of section 52.
Section 53 of Rhymes of Childhood by Edgar A. Guest. This LibriVox recording is in the public domain. Read by Trax. Bud discusses cleanliness. First thing in the morning, last I hear at night. Get it when I come from school. My, you look a sight. Go upstairs this minute and roll your sleeves up high and give your hands a scrubbing and wipe 'em till they're dry. Now don't stand there and argue and never mind your tears. And this time please remember to wash your neck and ears. Can't see why ears grow on us all crinkled like a shell, with lots of fancy carvings that make a feller yell each time his ma digs in them to get a speck of dirt, when plain ones would be easy to wash and wouldn't hurt. And I can't see the reason why every time ma nears she thinks she's got to send me to wash my neck and ears. I never wash to suit her, don't think I ever will. If I was white as sister, she'd call me dirty still. At night I get a scrubbing and go to bed, and then the first thing in the morning she makes me wash again. That strikes me as ridiculous. I've thought of it a heap. A feller can't get dirty when he is fast asleep. When I grow up to be a man like Pa and have a wife and kids to boss around, you bet they'll have an easy life. We won't be at them all the time, the way they keep at me, and kick about a little dirt that no one else can see. And every night at supper time, as soon as he appears, we will not chase our boy away to wash his neck and ears. End of section 53. Recording by Trax, Bangalore. www.humanityhelps.me.
Section 54 of Rhymes of Childhood by Edgar A. Guest. This LibriVox recording is in the public domain. Read by Wayne Cook. The Children. The children bring us laughter, and the children bring us tears. They string our joys like jewels bright upon the thread of years. They bring the bitterest cares we know, their mother's sharpest pain, then smile our world to loveliness like sunshine after rain. The children make us what we are. The childless king is spurned. The children send us to the hills where glories may be earned. For them we pledge our lives to strife. For them do mothers fade and count in newborn loveliness their sacrifice repaid. The children bring us back to God. In eyes that dance and shine, men read from day to day the proof of love and power divine. For them are fathers brave and good, and mothers fair and true. For them is every cherished dream and every deed we do. For children are the furnace fires of life kept blazing high. For children on the battlefields are soldiers pleased to die. In every place where humans toil, in every dream and plan, the laughter of the children shapes the destiny of man. End of section 54.
Section 55 of Rhymes of Childhood by Edgar A. Guest. This LibriVox recording is in the public domain. Read by Jen Broda. His example. There are little eyes upon you, and they're watching night and day. There are little ears that quickly take in every word you say. There are little hands all eager to do everything you do, and a little boy is dreaming of the day he'll be like you. You're the little fellow's idol, you're the wisest of the wise. In his little mind about you no suspicions ever rise. He believes in you devoutly, holds that all you say and do, he will say and do in your way when he's grown up just like you. Oh, it sometimes makes me shudder when I hear my boy repeat some careless phrase I've uttered in the language of the street. And it sets my heart to grieving when some little fault I see, and I know beyond all doubting that he picked it up from me. There's a wide-eyed little fellow who believes you're always right, and his ears are always open, and he watches day and night. You are setting an example every day in all you do for the little boy who's waiting to grow up to be like you. End of section 55.
Section 56 of Rhymes of Childhood by Edgar A. Guest. This LibriVox recording is in the public domain. Read by Larry Wilson. The Fun of Forgiving. Sometimes I'm almost glad to hear when I get home that they've been bad. And though I try to look severe, within my heart I'm really glad when Mother sadly tells me the list of awful things they've done. Because when they come tearfully, forgiving them is so much fun. I like to have them all alone, with no one near to hear or see. Then, as their little faults they own, I like to take them on my knee and talk it over, and pretend the whipping soon must be begun. And then to kiss them at the end, forgiving them is so much fun. Within the world there's no such charm as children penitent and sad, who put two soft and chubby arms around your neck when they've been bad. And as you view their trembling lips, away your temper starts to run, and from your mind all anger slips. Forgiving them is so much fun. If there were nothing to forgive, I wonder if we'd love them so. If they were wise enough to live as grown-ups do, and always go along the pleasant path of right, with ne'er a fault from sun to sun, a lot of joys we'd miss at night. Forgiving them is so much fun. End of section 56.
Section 57 of Rhymes of Childhood by Edgar A. Guest. This LibriVox recording is in the public domain. Read by Wayne Cook. The Right Family. With times our notion allus change, and years make old ideas seem strange. Take Mary there. Time was when she thought one child made a family, and when our eldest, Jim, was born, she used to say both night and morn, "One little one to love and keep, to guard awake and watch asleep. To bring up right and lead him through life's path is all we ought to do." 2 years from then our Jenny came, but Mary didn't talk the same. "Now that's just right," she said to me. "We got the proper family, a boy and a girl. God sure is good. Seems as though He understood that I've been hoping every way to have a little girl some day. Sometimes I've prayed the whole night through. One ain't enough. We needed two." Then as the month rolled on, one day the stork brought little John, and Mary smiled and said to me, "The proper family is 3. 2 boys, a girl to romp and play, just work enough to fill the day. I never had enough to do, the months that we had only 2. 3's just right, Pa. We don't want more." Still time went on, and we had 4. And that was years ago, I vow, and we have 6 fine children now. And Mary's plumb forgot the day she used to sit and sweetly say that one child was enough for her to love and give the proper care. 1, 2, or 3, or 4, or 5, why, goodness gracious sakes alive,
If God should send her 10 tonight, she'd vow her family was just right. End of section 57.
Section 58 of Rhymes of Childhood by Edgar A. Guest. This LibriVox recording is in the public domain. Read by Dia Khurana. Tonsils. One day the doctor came because my throat was feeling awful sore, and when he looked inside to see, he said, "It's like it was before. It's tonsillitis sure enough. You'd better tell her pa today, to make his mind up now, to have that little party right away." I'd heard him talk that way before when Bud was sick, and so I knew that what they did to him that time, to me they planned to come and do. And when my pa came home that night, Ma said, "She can't grow strong and stout until the doctor comes and takes her adenoids and tonsils out." And then pa took me on his knee and kissed me solemn like in grave, and said he guessed it was the best, and then he asked me to be brave. Ma said, "Don't look at her like that. It's nothing to be scared about." And pa said, "True, but still I wish she needn't have her tonsils out." Next morning when I woke, Ma said I couldn't have my breakfast then, because the doctors and the nurse had said they would be here by 10. When they got here, the doctor smiled and gave me some perfume to smell, and told me not to cry at all, 'cause pretty soon I would be well. When I woke up, Ma smiled and said, "It's all right now." But in my head, it seemed like wheels were buzzing around, and everywhere I looked was red. And I can't eat hard cookies yet, nor use my voice at all to shout. But Pa and Ma seemed awful glad that I would had my tonsils out. End of section 58. Read by Dia Khurana.
Section 59 of Rhymes of Childhood by Edgar A. Guest. This LibriVox recording is in the public domain. Read by Wayne Cook. As It Goes. In the corner she's left the mechanical toy. On the chair is her teddy bear fine. The things that I thought she would really enjoy don't seem to be quite in her line. There's the flaxen-haired doll that is lovely to see and really expensively dressed, left alone, all uncared for. And, strange though it be, she likes her rag dolly the best. Oh, the money we've spent and the plans we laid and the wonderful things that we bought. There are toys that are cunningly, skillfully made, but she seems not to give them a thought. She was pleased when she woke and discovered them there, but never a one of us guessed that it isn't the splendor that makes a gift rare. She likes her rag dolly the best. There's the flaxen-haired doll with the real human hair. There's the teddy bear left all alone. There's the automobile at the foot of the stair, and there is her toy telephone. We thought they were fine. But a little child's eyes look deeper than ours to find charm. And now she's in bed, and the rag dolly lies snuggled close on her little white arm. End of section 59.
Section 60 of Rhymes of Childhood by Edgar A. Guest. This LibriVox recording is in the public domain. Read by Dia Khurana. When the soap gets in your eye. My father says that I ought to be a man when anything happens to me. And he says that a man will take a blow and never let on it hurts him so. He'll grit his teeth and he'll set his chin and bear his pain with a manly grin. But I'll bet that the bravest man would cry if ever the soap gets into his eye. I'm brave enough when I'm playing ball, and I can laugh when I've had a fall. With the girls around, I'd never show that I was scared if the blood should flow from any banged up nose or a battered knee, as brave as the bravest I can be. But it's different pain, and I don't know why, whenever the soap gets into your eye. I can set my teeth and I can grin when I scrape my cheek or I bark my shin. And once I fell from our apple tree, and the vein was knocked right out of me, but I never cried, and the gang all said that they thought for sure I was really dead. But it's worse than thinking you're going to die whenever the soap gets into your eye. When your mother's holding your neck and you couldn't get away if you wanted to, and she's lathering hard with her good right hand, it's more than the bravest man could stand. If you open your mouth to howl, you get a taste of the wash rag, cold and wet. But you got to yell till your face gets dry whenever the soap gets into your eye. End of section 60. Read by Dia Khurana.
Section 61 of Rhymes of Childhood by Edgar A. Guest. This LibriVox recording is in the public domain. I don't want to go to bed. Worldwide over, this is said. I don't want to go to bed. Dads and mothers, far and near, every night this chorus hear. Makes no difference where they are, here or off in Zanzibar. In the igloos made of snow of the fur-clad Eskimo. In the blistering torrid zone, this one touch of nature's known. In life's various tongues it's said, I don't want to go to bed. This has ever been the way of the youngsters at their play. Laughter quickly dries their tears, trouble swiftly disappears. Joy is everywhere about, here and there and in and out. Yet when night comes on they cry, that so glad a day should die. And they think that they will miss something more of precious bliss. So shouts every curly head, I don't want to go to bed. Age is glad to put away all the burdens of the day. Glad to lay the worries down, quit the noises of the town, and in slumber end the care that has met them here and there. But the children do not know life is freighted down with woe. They would run until they drop, hoping they would never stop, calling back when it has fled, I don't want to go to bed. End of section 61. Recording by Rennell.
Section 62 of Rhymes of Childhood by Edgar A. Guest. This LibriVox recording is in the public domain. Read by Eric Lee. Morning Brigands. There may be happier times than this, but if there are, I've never known them. When youngsters jump in bed to kiss, and wake the pa's and ma's who own them. What if the sun be up or not? Another perfect day is dawning. And is it not a happy lot, with such delight to greet the morning? Sometimes I hear them quit their bed, and catch their barefoot pitter-patter. And other times they're at my head, before I know what is the matter. Brigands to rob us of our sleep, they come their weapons love and laughter. And though we're locked in slumber deep, they always get the joy thereafter. Some days there are when we would lie, and dream our dreams a little longer, then back to bed a while we cry, but oh, our love for them is stronger. Yes, stronger than our wish to sleep. And so we countermand the order, and let that pair of brigands leap, with wild delight across love's border. There may be happier times than this, but if there are, I've never known them. When youngsters jump in bed to kiss, and wake the pa's and ma's who own them. They miss a lot, the man and wife, who never feel those glad hands shake them, who rise by day to toil and strife, but have no little tots to wake them. End of section 62.
Section 63 of Rhymes of Childhood by Edgar A. Guest. This LibriVox recording is in the public domain. Read by Garfield D'Souza. Aunty. I'm sorry for a feller if he hasn't any aunt to let him eat and do the things his mother says he can't. An aunt to come a visitin' or want to go and see is just about the finest kind of lady there could be. Of course she's not your mother, and she hasn't got her ways, but a part that's most important in a feller's life she plays. She's kind and she's gentle, and sometimes she's full of fun, and she's very sympathetic when some dreadful thing you've done. And she likes to buy you candy, and she's always getting toys that you wish your pa would get you, for she hasn't any boys. But sometimes she's over-loving, and your cheeks turn red with shame when she smothers you with kisses. But you like her just the same. One time my father took me to my auntie's, and he said, "You will stay here till I get you, and be sure you go to bed when your auntie says it's time to, and be good and mind her too. And when you come home, we'll try to have a big surprise for you." I did as I was told to, and when Pa came back for me, he said there was a baby at the house for me to see. I've been visiting at Auntie's for a week or two, and Pa has written that he's coming soon to take me home to Ma. He says they're getting lonely, and I'm kind of lonely too. 'Cause an aunt is not exactly what your mother is to you. I'm hungry now to see her, but I'm wondering today if Pa's bought another baby in the time I've been away. End of section 63. Section 64 of Rhymes of Childhood by Edgar A. Guest. This LibriVox recording is in the public domain. Read by Garfield D'Souza. Different. The kids at our house number 3, as different as they can be. And if perchance they numbered 6, each one would have particular tricks, and certain little whims and fads unlike the other girls and lads. No two glad rascals can you name whom God has fashioned just the same. Bud's tough and full of life and fun, and likes to race about and run, and tease the girls. The rascal knows the slyest ways to pinch a nose and yank a curl until it hurts, and disarrange their Sunday skirts. Sometimes he trips them, heads or heels, to glory in their frenzied squeals. And Marjorie, she'd have more joy, she thinks, if she'd been born a boy. She wants no ribbons on her hair, no fancy, fussy things to wear. Things in which Sylvia delights to Marjorie are dreadful frights. They're sisters, yet I'd swear the name is all they own that is the same. Proud Sylvia, beautiful to see, a high-toned lady wants to be. She'll primp and fuss and deck her hair, and gorgeous raiment wants to wear. She'll sit sedately by the light and read a fairy tale at night, and she will sigh and sometimes wince at all the trials of the prince. If God should send us children 9 to follow our ancestral line, I'd vow that in the lot we'd strike no two among them just alike. And that's the way it ought to be. The larger grows a family, the more we own of joy and bliss, for each brings charms the others miss. End of section 64.
Section 65 of Rhymes of Childhood by Edgar A. Guest. This LibriVox recording is in the public domain. Read by Eric Lee. A fine sight. I reckon the finest sight of all that a man can see in this world of ours ain't the works of art on the gallery wall, or the red and white of the first spring flowers, or a hoard of gold from the yellow mines, but the sight that'll make you want to yell is to catch a glimpse of the first pink signs in your baby's cheek that she's getting well. When you see the pink just a-creeping back to the pale drawn cheek and you know to smile, then the cords in your heart that were tight grow slack, and you jump for joy every little while, and you tiptoe back to a little bed, as though you doubted your eyes or were afraid it was fever come back instead, and you found that the pink still blossomed there. You've watched for that smile and that bit of bloom, with a heavy heart for weeks and weeks, and a castle of joy becomes that room when you glimpse the pink in your baby's cheeks, and out of your breast flies a weight of care, and you're lifted up by some magic spell, and your heart just naturally beats a prayer. Oh, joy to the Lord, 'cause she's getting well. End of section 65.
Section 66 of Rhymes of Childhood by Edgar A. Guest. This LibriVox recording is in the public domain. Read by Larry Wilson. A Boy at Christmas. If I could have my wish tonight, it would not be for wealth or fame. It would not be for some delight that men who live in luxury claim. But it would be that I might rise at 3 or 4 a.m. to see, with eager, happy, boyish eyes, my presents on the Christmas tree. Throughout this world there is no joy, I know now I'm growing gray, so rich as being just a boy, a little boy on Christmas Day. I'd like once more to stand and gaze enraptured on a tinseled tree, with eyes that know just how to blaze a heart still tuned to ecstasy. I'd like to feel the old delight, the surging thrills within me come, to love a thing with all my might, to grasp the pleasure of a drum, to know the meaning of a toy, a meaning lost to minds blasé, to be just once again a boy, a little boy, on Christmas Day. I'd like to see a pair of skates the way they looked to me back then, before I'd turned from boyhood's gates and marched into the world of men. I'd like to see a jackknife, too, with those same eager dancing eyes that couldn't fault or blemish view. I'd like to feel the same surprise, the pleasure free from all alloy that has forever passed away, when I was just a little boy and had my faith in Christmas Day. O little laughing roguish lad, the king that rules across the sea would give his sceptre if he had such joy as now belongs to thee. And beards of gray would give their gold and all the honors they possess, once more within their grasp to hold thy present fee of happiness. Earth sends no greater, surer joy, as too soon thou, as I shall say, than that of him who is a boy, a little boy, on Christmas Day. End of section 66.
Section 67 of Rhymes of Childhood by Edgar A. Guest. This LibriVox recording is in the public domain. Read by Garfield D'Souza. The Cut-Down Trousers. When father couldn't wear them, mother cut them down for me. She took the slack in fore and aft, and hemmed them at the knee. They fitted rather loosely, but the things that made me glad were the horizontal pockets that those good old trousers had. They shone like patent leather just where well-worn breeches do, but the cloth in certain portions was considered good as new, and I know that I was envied by full many a richer lad for the horizontal pockets that those good old knickers had. They were cut along the waistline, with the opening straight and wide, and there wasn't any limit to what you could get inside. They would hold a pack of marbles, and a knife, and top, and string, and snakes, and frogs, and turtles. There was room for everything. Then our fortune changed a little, and my mother said that she wouldn't bother any longer fitting father's duds on me. But the store clothes didn't please me. There were times they made me sad, for I missed those good old pockets that my father's trousers had. End of section 67.
Section 68 of Rhymes of Childhood by Edgar A. Guest. This LibriVox recording is in the public domain. The Little Hurts. Every night she runs to me with a bandaged arm or a bandaged knee, a stone-bruised heel or swollen brow, and in sorrowful tones she tells me how she fell and hurted herself today while she was having
the bestest play. And I take her up in my arms and kiss the new little wounds and whisper this: "Oh, you must be careful, my little one. You mustn't get hurt while your daddy's gone. For every cut with its ache and smart leaves another bruise on your daddy's heart. Every night I must stoop to see the fresh little cuts on her arm or knee, the little hurts that have marred her play and brought the tears on a happy day. For the path of childhood is oft beset with care and trouble and things that fret. O little girl, when you older grow, far greater hurts than these you'll know. Greater bruises will bring your tears around the bend of the lane of years. But come to your daddy with them at night, and he'll do his best to make all things right." End of section 68. Section 69 of Rhymes of Childhood by Edgar A. Guest. This LibriVox recording is in the public domain. Grown Up. Last year he wanted building blocks, and picture books and toys, a saddle horse that gaily rocks, and games for little boys. But now he's big, and all that stuff his whim no longer suits. He tells us that he's old enough to ask for rubber boots. Last year whatever Santa brought delighted him to own. He never gave his wants a thought, nor made his wishes known. But now he says he wants a gun, the kind that really shoots, and I'm confronted with a son demanding rubber boots. The baby that we used to know has somehow slipped away, and when or where he chanced to go, not one of us can say. But here's a helter-skelter lad that to me nightly scoots, and boldly wishes that he had a pair of rubber boots. I'll bet old Santa Claus will sigh when down our flue he comes, and seeks the babe that used to lie and suck his tiny thumbs, and finds within that little bed a grown-up boy who hoots at building blocks and wants instead a pair of rubber boots. End of section 69.
Section 70 of Rhymes of Childhood by Edgar A. Guest. This LibriVox recording is in the public domain. Read by Phil Shempf. Grandpa. My grandpa is the finest man, 'cept my pa. My grandpa can make kites and carts and lots of things you pull along the ground with strings, and he knows all the names of birds and how they call 'thout using words, and where they live and what they eat, and how they build their nests so neat. He's lots of fun. Sometimes all day he comes to visit me and play. And you see, he's getting old, and so to work he doesn't have to go. And when it isn't raining, he drops in to have some fun with me. He takes my hand and we go out, and everything we talk about. He tells me how God makes the trees, and why it hurts to pick up bees. Sometimes he stops and shows to me the place where fairies used to be. And then he tells me stories too, and I'm sorry when he's through. When I'm asking him for more, he says, "Why, there's a candy store. Let us go there and see if they have got the kind we like today." Then when we get back home, my ma says, "You're spoilin' Buddy, Pa." My grandpa is my mother's pa. I guess that's what all grandpas are. And sometimes ma, all smiles, will say, "You didn't always act that way. When I was little, then you said that children should be sent to bed, and not allowed to rule the place and lead old folks a merry chase." Then grandpa laughs and says, "That's true. That's what I used to say to you. It's a father's place to show the young the way that they should go. But grandpas have a different task, which is to get them all they ask." End of section 70.
Section 71 of Rhymes of Childhood by Edgar A. Guest. This LibriVox recording is in the public domain. Read by Garfield D'Souza. Pa did it. The train of cars that Santa brought is out of kilter now. While Pa was showing how they went, he broke the spring somehow. They used to run around the track. At least they did, when he would let me take them in my hands and wind them with a key. I could have had some fun with them, if only they would go. But gee, I never had a chance, for Pa enjoyed them so. The automobile that I got that ran around the floor was lots of fun when it was new, but it won't go no more. Pa wound it up for Uncle Jim to show him how it went, and when those two got through with it, the running gear was bent. And now it doesn't go at all. I mustn't grumble though, 'cause while it was in shape to run, my Pa enjoyed it so. I've got my blocks as good as new. My mitts are perfect yet. Although the snow is on the ground, I haven't got 'em wet. I've taken care of everything that Santa brought to me, except the toys that run about when wound up with a key. But next year, you can bet I won't make any such mistake. I'm going to ask for toys and things that my Pa cannot break. End of section 71.
Section 72 of Rhymes of Childhood by Edgar A. Guest. This LibriVox recording is in the public domain. Read by Eric Lee. The Doctor. I don't see why Pa likes him so, and seems so glad to have him come. He jabs my ribs and wants to know if here and there is hurtin' some. He holds my wrist, 'cause there are things in there which always jump and jerk. Then with a telephone he brings, he listens to my breather work. He taps my back and pinches me, then hangs a mirror on his head, and looks into my throat to see what makes it hurt and if it's red. Then on his knee he starts to write, and says to Mother with a smile, "This ought to fix him up all right. We'll cure him in a little while." I don't see why Pa likes him so. Whenever I don't want to play, he says the boy is sick, I know. Let's get the doctor right away. And when he comes he shakes his hand and hustles him upstairs to me, and seems contented just to stand inside the room where he can see. Then Pa says every time he goes, "That's money I'm glad to pay. It's worth it when a fellow knows his pal will soon be up to play." But maybe if my Pa were me, and had to take his pills and all, he wouldn't be so glad to see the doctor come to make a call. End of section 72. Section 73 of Rhymes of Childhood by Edgar A. Guest. This LibriVox recording is in the public domain. Read by Eric Lee. The Little Velvet Suit. Last night I got to thinking of the pleasant long ago, when I still had on knee breeches and I wore a flowing bow, and my Sunday suit was velvet. Ma and Pa thought it was fine, but I know I didn't like it, either velvet or design. It was far too girlish for me, for I wanted something rough, like what other boys were wearing, but Ma wouldn't buy such stuff. Ma answered all my protests in her sweet and kindly way. She said it didn't matter what I wore to run and play, but on Sundays when all people went to church and wore their best, her boy must look as stylish and as well kept as the rest. So she dressed me up in velvet, and she tied the flowing bow, and she straightened out my stockings so that not a crease would show. And then I chuckled softly to myself while dreaming there, and I saw her standing over me, combing out my tangled hair. I could feel again the tugging, and I heard the yell I gave when she struck a snarl, and softly I could hear her say, "Be brave, 'twill be over in a minute, and a little man like you shouldn't whimper at a little bit of pain the way you do." Oh, I wouldn't mind the tugging at my scalp lock, and you know that I'd gladly wear to please her that old flowing girlish bow, and I think I'd even try to don once more that velvet suit, and blush the same old blushes, as the women called me cute. Could the dear old mother only take me by the hand again, and be as proud of me right now as she was always then. End of section 73. Section 74 of Rhymes of Childhood by Edgar A. Guest. This LibriVox recording is in the public domain. Read by Eric Lee. Spoiling them. You're spoiling them, the mother cries, when I give way to weepy eyes, and let them do the things they wish, like cleaning up the jelly dish, or finishing the chocolate cake, or maybe let the rascal take my piece of huckleberry pie, because he wants it more than I. You're spoiling them, the mother tells, when I am heedless to their yells, and let them race and romp about, and do not put their joy to rout. I know I should be firm, and yet I tried it once to my regret. I will remember till I'm old the day I started in to scold. I stamped my foot and shouted, "Stop!" And Bud just let his drumsticks drop, and looked at me and turned away. That night there was no further play. The girls were solemn like and still, just as girls are when they are ill. And when unto his cot I crept, I found him sobbing as he slept. That was my first attempt and last to play the scold. I'm glad it passed so quickly, and has left no trace of memory on each little face. But now when mother whispers low, "You're spoiling them," I answer no. But it is plain as plain can be, those little tykes are spoiling me. End of section 74.
Section 75 of Rhymes of Childhood by Edgar A. Guest. This LibriVox recording is in the public domain. Read by Wayne Cook. Story time. "Tell us a story," comes the cry from little lips when nights are cold, and in the grate the flames leap high. "Tell us a tale of pirates bold, or fairies hiding in the glen, or of a ship that's wrecked at sea." I fill my pipe, and there and then gather the children round my knee. I give them all a role to play. No longer are they youngsters small, and I their daddy turning gray. We are adventurers, one and all. We journey forth as Robin Hood in search of treasure, or to do some deed of daring or of good. Our hearts are ever brave and true. We take a solemn oath to be defenders of the starry flag. We brave the winter's stormy sea, or climb the rugged mountain crag, to battle to the death with those who would defame our native land. We pitch our camp among the snows, or on the tropics' burning sand. We rescue maidens young and fair, held captive long in prison towers. We slay the villain in his lair, for we're possessed of magic powers. And though we desperately fight when by our foes are we beset, we always triumph for the right. We have not lost a battle yet. It matters not how far we stray, nor where our battle lines may be. We never get so far away that we must spend a night at sea. It matters not how high we climb, or how many foes our pathways block. We always conquer just in time to go to bed at 9 o'clock. End of section 75.
Section 76 of Rhymes of Childhood by Edgar A. Guest. This LibriVox recording is in the public domain. Another mouth to feed. We've got another mouth to feed from out our little store. To satisfy another's need is now my daily chore. A growing family is ours, beyond the slightest doubt. It takes all my financial powers to keep them looking stout. With us another makes his bow To breakfast, dine, and sup. Our little circle's larger now, for Buddy's got a pup. If I am frayed about the hills and both my elbows shine, and if my overcoat reveals the poverty that's mine, 'tis not because I squander gold in folly's reckless way. The cost of foodstuffs, be it told, takes all my weekly pay. 'Tis putting food on empty plates that eats my wages up, and now another mouth awaits, for Buddy's got a pup. And yet I gladly stand the strain and count the task worthwhile, nor will I dismally complain while Buddy wears a smile. What's one mouth more at any board, though costly be the fare? The poorest of us can afford his frugal meal to share. And so bring on the extra plate, he will not need a cup, and gladly will I pay the freight, now Buddy's got a pup. End of section 76.
Section 77 of the Rhymes of Childhood by Edgar A. Guest. This LibriVox recording is in the public domain. Read by Ed Humple. The Lure That Failed. I know a wonderful land, I said, where the skies are always blue, where on chocolate drops are the children fed, and coconut cookies too, where puppy dogs romp at the children's feet, and the liveliest kittens play, and little tin soldiers guard the street to frighten the bears away. The land is reached by a wonderful ship that sails on a golden tide, but never a grown-up makes the trip, it is only a children's ride. And never a cross-patch journeys there, and never a pouting face, for it is the land of smiling, where a frown is a big disgrace. Oh, you board the ship when the sun goes down, and over a gentle sea you slip away from the noisy town to the land of the chocolate tree. And there, till the sun comes over the hill, you frolic and romp and play, and of candy and cake you eat your fill, with no one to tell you nay. So come, it is time for the ship to go to this wonderful land so fair, and gently the summer breezes blow to carry you safely there. So come, set sail on this golden sea to the land that is free from dread. I know what you mean, she said to me, and I don't want to go to bed. End of section 77.
Section 78 of Rhymes of Childhood by Edgar A. Guest. This LibriVox recording is in the public domain. Read by Eric Lee. The Little Army. Little women, little men, childhood never comes again. Live it gaily while you may. Give your baby souls to play. March to sound of stick and pan, in your paper hats and tramp, just as bravely as you can, to your pleasant little camp. Wooden sword and wooden gun, make a battle splendid fun. Find the victories you win, dimpled cheek and dimpled chin. Little women, little men, hearts are light when years are 10. Eyes are bright and cheeks are red, when life's cares lie all ahead. Drums make merry music when they are leading children out. Trumpet calls are cheerful then, glorious is the battle shout. Little soldiers single file, uniformed in grin and smile, conquer every foe they meet, up and down the gentle street. Little women, little men, would that youth could come again. Would that I might fall in line as a little boy of 9, but with broomstick for a gun, and with paper hat that I bravely wore back there for fun. Never more may I defy foes that deep in ambush kneel. Now my warfare's grim and real. I that once was brave and bold, now am battered, bruised and old. Little women, little men, planning to attack my den, little do you know the joy that you give a worn-out boy, as he hears your gentle feet pitter-patting in the hall. Gladly does he wait to meet conquest by a troop so small. Dimpled cheek and dimpled chin, you have but to smile to win. Come and take him where he stays, dreaming of his bygone days. End of section 78. Section 79 of Rhymes of Childhood by Edgar A. Guest. This LibriVox recording is in the public domain. Read by Eric Lee. The Broken Drum. There's a sorrow in the household, there's a grief too hard to bear. There's a little cheek that's tear-stained, there's a sobbing baby there. And try how we will to comfort, still the tiny teardrops come. For to solve a vexing problem, Curly Locks has wrecked his drum. It had puzzled him and worried how the drum created sound, for he couldn't understand it. It was not enough to pound with his tiny hands and drumsticks, and at last the day has come when another hope is shattered. Now in ruins lies his drum. With his metal bank he broke it, tore the tightened skin aside, gazed on vacant space bewildered. Then he broke right down and cried. For the broken bubble shocked him, and the baby tears must come. Now a joy has gone forever. Curly Locks has wrecked his drum. While his mother tries to soothe him, I am sitting here alone. In the life that lies behind me, many shocks like that I've known. And the boy who's upstairs weeping, in the years that are to come, will learn that many pleasures are as empty as his drum. End of section 79.
Section 80 of Rhymes of Childhood by Edgar A. Guest. This LibriVox recording is in the public domain. The Boy Soldier. Each evening on my lap there climbs a little boy of 3. With his dimpled chubby fists he pounds me shamefully. He gives my beard a vicious tug. He bravely pulls my nose, and then he tussles with my hair, and then explores my clothes. He throws my pencils on the floor. My watch is his delight. He never seems to think that I have any private right. And though he breaks my good cigars with all his cunning art, he works a greater ruin far, deep down within my heart. This roguish little tyke, who sits each night upon my knee and hammers at his poor old dad, is bound to conquer me. He little knows that long ago he forced the gates apart and marched triumphantly into the city of my heart. Some day, perhaps in years to come, when he is older grown, he too will be assailed as I by youngsters of his own, and when at last a little lad gives battle on his knee, I know that he'll be captured too, just as he captured me. End of section 80.
Section 81 of Rhymes of Childhood by Edgar A. Guest. This LibriVox recording is in the public domain. Read by Phil Shempf. A Bear Story. There was a bear, his name was Jim, and children weren't a-scared of him, and he lived in a cave where he was comfortable as could be. And in that cave, so my pa said, Jim always kept a stock of bread and honey, so that he could treat the boys and girls along his street. And all that Jim could say was, "Woof!" and give a grunt and went like swoof. And pa says when his grunt went off, it sounded just like Grandpa's cough, or like our Jerry when he's mad and growls at peddler men that's bad. While grown-ups were afraid of Jim, kids could do anything with him. One day a little boy like me that had a sister Marjorie was walking through the woods, and they heard something woofing down that way, and they were scared and stood stock still and wished they had a gun to kill whatever 'twas, but little boys don't have no guns that make a noise. And soon the woofing closer grew, and then a bear came into view, the biggest bear you ever saw, Ma's muff was smaller than his paw. He saw the children and he said, "I ain't a-goin' to kill you dead. You needn't turn away and run. I'm only scarin' you for fun." And then he stood up just like those big bears in circuses and shows, and danced a jig and rolled about and said, "Woof, woof," which meant "Look out," and turned a somersault as slick as any boy can do the trick. Those children had been told of Jim, and they decided it was him. They stroked his nose when they got brave, and followed him into his cave. And Jim asked them if they liked honey. They said they did. Said Jim, "That's funny. I've asked 1,000 boys or so that question, and not one said no." What happened then I cannot say, 'cause next I knew 'twas light as day. End of section 81.
Section 82 of Rhymes of Childhood by Edgar A. Guest. This LibriVox recording is in the public domain. When Pa Comes Home. When Pa comes home, I'm at the door, and then he grabs me off the floor, and throws me up and catches me when I come down, and then says he, "Well, how'd you get along today? And were you good, and did you play, and keep right out of Mamma's way? And how'd you get that awful bump above your eye? My, what a lump! And who spilled jelly on your shirt? And where d'you ever find the dirt that's on your hands? And my, oh my, I guess those eyes have had a cry. They look so red. What was it, pray? What has been happening here today?" And then he drops his coat and hat upon a chair and says, "What's that? Who knocked that engine on its back and stepped upon that piece of track?" And then he takes me on his knee and says, "What's this that now I see? Whatever can the matter be? Who strewed those toys upon the floor and left those things behind the door? Who upset all those parlour chairs and threw those blocks upon the stairs? I guess a cyclone called today while I was working far away. Who was it worried Mamma so? It can't be anyone I know." And then I'd laugh and say, "It's me! Me did most everything you see. Me got this bump the time we tripped. And here is where the jelly slipped right off my bread upon my shirt. And when me tumbled down, it hurt. That's how me got all over dirt. Me threw those building blocks downstairs. And me upset the parlour chairs. 'Cause when you're playing trains, you've got to move things round an awful lot." And then my pa, he kisses me and bounces me upon his knee and says, "Well, well, my little lad, what glorious fun you must have had." End of section 82.
Section 83 of Rhymes of Childhood by Edgar A. Guest. This LibriVox recording is in the public domain. Read by Phil Schampf. The Joy of a Dog. Ma says no, it's too much care, and it will scatter germs and hair, and it's a nuisance through and barks when you don't want it to, and carries dirt from off the street, and tracks the carpets with its feet. But it's a sign he's growin' up when he is longin' for a pup. Most every night he comes to me and climbs a straddle of my knee and starts to fondle me and pet, then asks me if I've found one yet. And Ma says, "Now don't tell him yes. You know they make an awful mess," and starts their faults to catalogue. But every boy should have a dog. And some night when he comes to me, deep in my pocket there will be the pup he's hungry to possess, or else I'll sadly miss my guess, for I remember all the joy a dog meant to a little boy who loved it in the long ago, the joy that's now his right to know. End of section 83.
Section 84 of Rhymes of Childhood by Edgar A. Guest. This LibriVox recording is in the public domain. Read by Eric Lee. Up to the Ceiling. up to the ceiling and down to the floor. Hear him now squealing and calling for more. Laughing and shouting, away up he cries. Who could be doubting the love in his eyes? Hey ho, my baby, and hey ho, my son. Up to the ceiling is wonderful fun. Bigger than daddy and bigger than mother. Only a laddie, but bigger than brother. Laughing and crowing and squirming and wriggling, cheeks fairly glowing, now cooing and giggling. Down to the cellar, then quick as a dart, up to the ceiling brings joy to the heart. Gone is the hurry, the anguish and sting, the heartache and worry that business cares bring. Gone is the hustle, the clamour for gold, the rush and the bustle that day's affairs hold. Peace comes to the battered, old heart of his dad, when up to the ceiling he plays with his lad. End of section 84.
Section 85 of Rhymes of Childhood by Edgar A. Guest. This LibriVox recording is in the public domain. Read by Wayne Cook. Answering Him. When shall I be a man? He said, as I was putting him to bed. How many years will have to be before time makes me a man? And will I be a man when I am grown up big? I heaved a sigh, because it called for careful thought to give the answer that he sought. And so I set him on my knee and said to him, A man you'll be when you have learned that honor brings more joy than all the crowns of kings. That it is better to be true to all who know and trust in you than to all the gold of the earth to gain, if winning it shall leave a stain. When you can fight for victory sweet, yet bravely swallow down defeat, and cling to hope and keep the right, nor use deceit instead of might. When you are kind and brave and clean and fair to all, and never mean. When there is good in all you plan, that day, my boy, you'll be a man. Some of us learn this truth too late, that years alone can't make us great, that many who are 70 have fallen short of being men, because in selfishness they fought and toiled without refining thought, and whether wrong or whether right, they lived but for their own delight. When you have learned that you must hold your honor dearer far than gold, that no ill-gotten wealth or fame can pay you for your tarnished name, and when in all you say or do of others you are considerate too, content to do the best you can by such a creed, you'll be a man. End of section 85.
Section 86 of Rhymes of Childhood by Edgar A. Guest. This LibriVox recording is in the public domain. Read by Eric Lee. The Bumps and Bruises Doctor. I'm the bumps and bruises doctor. I'm the expert that they seek, when their rough and tumble playing leaves a scar on leg or cheek. I'm the rapid certain curer for the wounds of every fall. I'm the pain eradicator, I can always heal them all. Bumps on little people's foreheads I can quickly smooth away. I can take splinters out of fingers without very much delay. Little sorrows I can banish with the magic of my touch. I can fix a bruise that's dreadful so it isn't hurting much. I'm the bumps and bruises doctor, and I answer every call. And my fee is very simple, just a kiss, and that is all. And I'm sitting here and wishing, in the years that are to be, when they face life's real troubles, that they'll bring them all to me. End of section 86.
Section 87 of Rhymes of Childhood by Edgar A. Guest. This LibriVox recording is in the public domain. Real Swimming. I saw him in the distance as the train went speeding by. a shivery little fellow standing in the sun to dry, and a little pile of clothing. Very near him I could see he was owner of a gladness that had once belonged to me. I've shivered as he shivered, I've dried the way he dried, I've stood naked in God's sunshine with my garments at my side, and I thought as I beheld him of the many weary men who would like to go in swimming as a little boy again. I saw him scarce a moment, yet I knew his lips were blue, and I knew his teeth were chattering just as mine were wont to do, and I knew his merry playmates in the pond were splashing still. I could tell how much he envied all the boys that never chilled. And throughout that lonesome journey I kept living o'er and o'er the joys of going swimming when no bathing suits we wore. I was that little fellow, standing chattering in the sun. I was sharing in his shivers and a partner of his fun. Back to me there came the pictures that I never shall forget, when I dared not travel homewards if my shock of hair was wet, when I did my brief undressing under fine and friendly trees, in the days before convention rigged us up in BVDs. And I dived for stones and metal on the mill pond's muddy floor, then stood naked in the sunshine till my blood grew warm once more. I was back again, a youngster, those golden days of old, when my teeth were wont to chatter and my lips were blue with cold. End of section 87.
Section 88 of Rhymes of Childhood by Edgar A. Guest. This LibriVox recording is in the public domain. Read by Wayne Cook. Always saying, don't. Folks are queer as they can be, always saying, don't, to me. Don't do this and don't do that. Don't annoy or tease the cat. Don't throw stones or climb a tree. Don't play in the road. Oh, gee. Seems like when I want to play, don't is all that they can say. If I start to have some fun, someone hollers, don't you run. If I want to go and play, mother says, don't go away. Seems my life is filled clear through with the things I mustn't do. All the time I'm shouted at, no, no, sonny, don't do that. Don't shout so and make a noise. Don't play with those naughty boys. Don't eat candy. Don't eat pie. Don't you laugh, and don't you cry. Don't stand up, and don't you fall. Don't do anything at all. Seems to me, both night and day, don't is all that they can say. When I'm older in my ways and have little boys to raise, bet I'll let 'em race and run and not always spoil their fun. I'll not tell 'em all along everything they like is wrong, and you bet your life I won't all the time be saying don't. End of section 88. Section 89 of Rhymes of Childhood by Edgar A. Guest. This LibriVox recording is in the public domain. Read by Wayne Cook. No children. No children in the house to play. It must be hard to live that way. I wonder what the people do when night comes on and the work is through, with no glad little folks to shout, no eager feet to race about, no youthful tongues to chatter on about the joy that's been and gone. The house might be a castle fine, but what a lonely place to dine. No children in the house at all. No finger marks upon the wall, no corner where the toys are piled, sure indication of a child. No little lips to breathe the prayer that God shall keep you in his care. No glad caress and welcome sweet when night returns you to your street. No little lips a kiss to give. Oh, what a lonely way to live. No children in the house. I fear we could not stand it half a year. What would we talk about at night? Plan for and work with all our might. Hold common dreams about, and find true union of heart and mind. If we two had no greater care than what we both should eat and wear, we never knew love's brightest flame until the day the baby came. And now we could not get along without their laughter and their song. Joy is not bottled on a shelf, it cannot feed upon itself, and even love, if it shall wear, must find its happiness in care. Dull we'd become of mind and speech had we no little ones to teach, no children in the house to play. Oh, we could never live that way. End of section 89. Section 90 of Rhymes of Childhood by Edgar A. Guest. This LibriVox recording is in the public domain. Read by Wayne Cook. To a Little Girl. O little girl with eyes of brown and smiles that fairly light the town, I wonder if you really know just why it is we love you so, and why, with all the little girls with shining eyes and tangled curls that throng and dance this big world through, our hearts have room for only you. Since other little girls are gay and laugh and sing and romp and play, and all are beautiful to see, why should you mean so much to me? And why should mother, day and night, make you her source of all delight, and always find in your caress her greatest sum of happiness? Oh, there's a reason good for this, you laughing little bright-eyed miss. In all this town, with all its girls with shining eyes and sun-kissed curls, if we should search it through and through, we'd find not one so fair as you, and none, however fair of face, within our hearts could take your place. For one glad day not long ago, God sent you down to us below, and said that you were ours to keep, to guard awake and watch asleep. And ever since the day you came, no other child has seen the same. No other smiles are quite so fair as those which happily you wear. We seem to live from day to day to hear the things you have to say, and just because God gave us you, we prize the little things you do. Though God has filled this world with flowers, we like you best because you're ours. In you our greatest joys we know, and that is why we love you so. End of section 90.
Section 91 of Rhymes of Childhood by Edgar A. Guest. This LibriVox recording is in the public domain. Read by Ed Humple. A Feller's Hat. It's funny 'bout a feller's hat. He can't remember where it's at, or where he took it off, or when, the time he's wanting it again. He knows just where he leaves his shoes, his sweater he won't often lose. He can find his rubbers, but he can't tell where his hat is put. A feller's hat gets anywhere. Sometimes he'll find it in a chair, or on the sideboard, or maybe it's in the kitchen, just where he gave it a toss beside the sink when he came in to get a drink, and then forgot. But anyhow, he never knows where it is now. A feller's hat is never where he thinks it is when he goes there. It's never any use to look for it upon a closet hook, 'cause it is always in some place it shouldn't be, to his disgrace, and he will find it, like as not, behind some radiator hot. A feller's hat can get away from him most any time of day, so he can't ever find it when he wants it to go out again. It hides in corners dark and grim, and seems to want to bother him. It disappears from sight somehow, I wish I knew where mine is now. End of section 91.
Section 92 of Rhymes of Childhood by Edgar A. Guest. This LibriVox recording is in the public domain. Practicing time. Always whenever I want to play, I've got to practice an hour a day. Get through breakfast and make my bed. And Mother says, "Marjorie, run ahead. There's a time for work and a time for fun, so go and get your practicing done." And Bud, he chuckles and says to me, "Yes, do your practicing, Marjorie." A brother's an awful tease, you know, and he just says that 'cause I hate it so. They leave me alone in the parlor there to play the scales or the Maiden's Prayer. And if I stop, Mother's bound to call, "Marjorie, dear, you're not playing at all. Don't waste your time, but keep right on, or you'll have to stay when the hour is gone." Or maybe the maid looks in at me and says, "You're not practicing as I can see. Just hustle along, I've got work to do, and I can't dust the room until you get through." Then when I've run over the scales and things like the fairies dance or the mountain springs, and my fingers ache and my head is sore, I find I must sit there half an hour more. An hour is terribly long, I say, when you've got to practice and you want to play. So slowly at times has the big hand dropped that I was sure that the clock had stopped. But Mother called down to me, "Don't forget, a full hour, please. It's not over yet." Oh, when I get big and have children too, there's one thing I will never do. I won't have brothers to tease the girls and make them mad when they pull their curls, and laugh at them when they've got to stay and practice their music an hour a day. I won't have a maid like the one we've got that likes to boss you around a lot. And I won't have a clock that can go so slow when it's practice time, 'cause I hate it so. End of section 92. Recording by Rennell.
Section 93 of Rhymes of Childhood by Edgar A. Guest. This LibriVox recording is in the public domain. Read by Grace Buchanan. When There's Company for Tea. When there's company for tea, things go mighty hard with me. Gotta sit and wait till the last guest's cleaned his plate. And I mustn't ask Ma what kind of pie it is she's got. Mustn't crunch my napkin up, or dip cookies in my cup. When there's company for tea, home don't seem like home to me. Gotta wash my ears and neck till they do not show a speck. Gotta brush my hair and then gotta change my waist again. Then walk slowly downstairs and try to be a gentleman. When there's company for tea, Ma spends hours instructing me how to eat and what to say, and I can't go out to play when I've finished but must stay till Ma whispers, "Now you may." Sittin' still is not much fun when you've got your supper done. When there's company for tea, then the servant waits on me last instead of first, and I mustn't talk when she comes by. If the boys outside should call, I don't answer them at all. You'd never know that it was me when there's company for tea. End of section 93. Recording by Grace Buchanan. Section 94 of Rhymes of Childhood by Edgar A. Guest. This LibriVox recording is in the public domain. Read by Grace Buchanan. The Good Little Boy. Once there was a boy who never tore his clothes, or hardly ever. Never made his sister mad, never whipped for being bad, never scolded by his ma, never frowned at by his pa. always fit for folks to see, always good as good could be. This good little boy from heaven, so I'm told, was only 7, yet he never shed real tears when his mother scrubbed his ears. And at times when he was dressed for a party in his best, he was careful of his shirt not to get it smeared with dirt. Used to study late at night, learning how to read and write. When he played a baseball game, right away he always came when his mother called him in. And he never made a din, but was quiet as a mouse when they'd company in the house. Liked to wash his hands and face, liked to work around the place. Never, when he'd tire of play, left his wagon in the way, or his bat and ball around, put 'em where they could be found. And that good boy married Ma, and today he is my Pa. End of section 94, recording by Grace Buchanan. Section 95 of Rhymes of Childhood by Edgar A. Guest. This LibriVox recording is in the public domain. Read by Grace Buchanan. The Finest Age. When he was only 9 months old, and plump and round and pink of cheek, a joy to tickle and to hold, before he'd even learned to speak, his gentle mother used to say, "It is too bad that he must grow. If I could only have my way, his baby ways we'd always know." And then the year was turned, and he began to toddle round the floor, and name the things that he could see, and soil the dresses that he wore. Then many a night she whispered low, "Our baby now is such a joy. I hate to think that he must grow to be a wild and heedless boy." But on he went, and sweeter grew, and then his mother, I recall, wished she could keep him always too, for that's the finest age of all. She thought the self-same thing at 3, and now that he is 4, she sighs to think that he cannot always be the youngster with the laughing eyes. Oh, little boy, my wish is not always to keep you 4 years old. Each night I stand beside your cot and think of what the years may hold. And looking down on you, I pray that when we've lost our baby small, the mother of our man will say, "This is the finest age of all." End of section 95, recording by Grace Buchanan.
Section 96 of Rhymes of Childhood by Edgar A. Guest. This LibriVox recording is in the public domain. Read by Ed Humple. Out of Doors. The kids are out of doors once more. The heavy leggings that they wore, the winter caps that covered ears, are put away, and no more tears are shed because they cannot go until they're bundled up just so. No more she wonders when they've gone if they have put their rubbers on. No longer are they hourly told to guard themselves against a cold. Bareheaded now they romp and run, warmed only by the kindly sun. She's put their heavy clothes away and turned the children out to play, and all the morning long they race like madcaps round about the place. The robins on the fences sing a gayer song of welcoming, and seem as though they had a share in all the fun they're having there. The wrens and sparrows twitter too, a louder and a noisier crew, as though it pleased them all to see the youngsters out of doors and free. Outdoors they scamper to their play, with merry din the livelong day, and hungrily they jostle in, the favor of the maid to win. Then armed with cookies or with cake, their way into the yard they make, and every feathered playmate comes to gather up his share of crumbs. The finest garden that I know is one where little children grow, where cheeks turn round and eyes are bright, and all is laughter and delight. Oh, you may brag of gardens fine, but let the children race in mine, and let the roses, white and red, make gay the ground whereon they tread. And who for bloom perfection seeks should mark the color on their cheeks. No music that the robin spouts is equal to their merry shouts. There is no foliage to compare with youngsters' sun-kissed tousled hair. Spring's greatest joy, beyond a doubt, is when it brings the children out. End of section 96.
Section 97 of Rhymes of Childhood by Edgar A. Guest. This LibriVox recording is in the public domain. Read by Wayne Cook. My Pa Said So. Foxes can talk if you know how to listen. My pa said so. Owls have big eyes that sparkle and glisten. My pa said so. Bears can turn flip-flaps and climb elm trees and steal all the honey away from the bees, and they never mind winter because they don't freeze. My pa said so. Girls is scared of a snake, but boys ain't. My pa said so. They holler and run, and sometimes they faint. My pa said so. But boys would be ashamed to be frightened that way when all that the snake wants to do is to play. You gotta believe every word that I say. My pa said so. Wolves ain't so bad if you treat 'em all right. My pa said so. They're as fond of a game as they are of a fight. My pa said so. And all the animals found in the wood ain't always ferocious. Most times they're good. The trouble is, mostly they're misunderstood. My pa says so. You can think what you like, but I stick to what my pa said so. And I'll keep right on, saying again and again, my pa said so. Maybe foxes don't talk to such people as you, and bears never show you the tricks they can do, but I know that the stories I'm telling are true. My pa said so. End of section 97.
Section 98 of Rhymes of Childhood by Edgar A. Guest. This LibriVox recording is in the public domain. Read by Phil Shempf. A Boy and His Dad. A boy and his dad on a fishing trip. There was a glorious fellowship. Father and son in the open sky, and the white clouds lazily drifting by, and the laughing stream as it runs along, with the clicking reel like a martial song, and the father teaching the youngster gay how to land a fish in the sportsman's way. I fancy I hear them talking there in an open boat, and the speech is fair, and the boy is learning the ways of men from the finest man in his youthful ken. Kings to the youngster cannot compare with the gentle father who's with him there, and the greatest mind of the human race not for 1 minute could take his place. Which is happier, man or boy? The soul of the father is steeped in joy, for he's finding out, to his heart's delight, that his son is fit for the future fight. He is learning the glorious depths of him, and the thoughts he thinks, and his every whim. And he shall discover, when night comes on, how close he has grown to his little son. A boy and his dad on a fishing trip. Oh, I envy them as I see them there, under the sky in the open air. For out of the old long ago, come the summer days that I used to know, when I learned life's truths from my father's lips, as I shared the joy of his fishing trips, builders of life's companionship. End of section 98.
Section 99 of Rhymes of Childhood by Edgar A. Guest. This LibriVox recording is in the public domain. Read by Wayne Perry. A Boy's Hope for the Future. I'd like to hunt for buffalo and ride the western slope. I'd like to be a cowboy and make circles with a rope. I'd like to be a trapper and sit round a fire at night and hear the wolves and catamounts a-growling at the light. But buffalo and catamounts I guess I'll never see, 'cause Pa says that he hopes to make a lawyer out of me. I'd like to be an acrobat, performing in the air, pretending I was going to fall to give the folks a scare. I'd like to balance on a pole and dangle from my teeth, and frighten all the little boys and girls who sat beneath. But Uncle John, he says he hopes for higher things than that, and I should have to run away to be an acrobat. I'd like to be a circus clown and run around the ring and wear a funny suit of clothes and laugh at everything. I'd like to paint my face all white and have a lot of fun, but Ma says that she must be proud to say that I'm her son. She wants to hold her head up high as it can be, and she is hoping she can make a preacher out of me. End of section 99. Recording by Wayne Perry.
Section 100 of Rhymes of Childhood by Edgar A. Guest. This LibriVox recording is in the public domain. Read by Fernando Borrego. Couldn't live without you. You're just a little fella with a lot of funny ways. Just 3'6" of mischief set with eyes that fairly blaze. You're always up to something with those busy hands of yours. And you leave a trail of ruin on the walls and on the doors. And I wonder as I watch you and your curious tricks I see, whatever is the reason that you mean so much to me. You're just a chubby rascal with a grin upon your face. Just 7 years of gladness and a hard and trying case. You think the world's your playground and all you say and do. You fancy everybody ought to bow and scrape to you. Dull care's a thing you laugh at, just as though 'twill never be. So I wonder, little fella, why you mean so much to me. Now your face is smeared with candy, or perhaps it's only dirt. And it's really most alarming how you tear your little shirt. But I have to smile upon you, and with all your willful ways. I'm certain that I need you round about me all my days. Yes, I've got to have you with me, for somehow it's come to be that I couldn't live without you, for you're all the world to me. End of section 100.
Section 101 of Rhymes of Childhood by Edgar A. Guest. This LibriVox recording is in the public domain. Read by Eric Lee. Leader of the Gang. Seems only just a year ago that he was toddling round the place, in pretty little coloured suits, and with a pink and shining face. I used to hold him in my arms to watch when our canary sang, and now tonight he tells me that he's leader of his gang. It seems but yesterday, I vow, that with fear was almost dumb, living those dreadful bouts of care, waiting the time for him to come. And I can still recall the thrill of that first cry of his which rang within our walls, and now that babe tells me he's leader of his gang. Gone from our lives are all the joys which yesterday we used to own. The baby that we thought we had out of the little home has flown, and in his place another stands whose garments in disorder hang. A lad who now with pride proclaims that he's the leader of his gang. And yet somehow I do not grieve for what it seems we may have lost. To have so strong a boy as this, most cheerfully I pay the cost. I find myself a sense of joy to comfort every little pang, and pray that they shall find in him a worthy leader of the gang. End of section 101.
Section 102 of Rhymes of Childhood by Edgar A. Guest. This LibriVox recording is in the public domain. Read by Theoden Humphrey. Little girls are best. Little girls are mighty nice. Take 'em any way they come. They are always worth their price. Life without 'em would be glum. Run earth's lists of treasures through, pile 'em high until they fall. Gold and costly jewels, too. Little girls are best of all. Nothing equals 'em on earth. I'm an old man and I know any little girl is worth more than all the gold below. Eyes of blue or brown or gray, raven hair or golden curls. There's no joy on earth today quite so fine as little girls. Pudgy nose or freckled face, fairy-like or plain to see, God has surely blessed the place where a little girl may be. They're the jewels of his crown, dropped to earth from heaven above, like wee angel souls sent down to remind us of his love. God has made some lovely things, roses red and skies a blue, trees and babbling silver springs, gardens glistening with dew. But take every gift to man, big and little, great and small, judge it on its merits, and little girls are best of all. End of section 102. Section 103 of Rhymes of Childhood by Edgar A. Guest. This LibriVox recording is in the public domain. Read by Theoden Humphrey. What Home's Intended For. When the young folks gather round in the good old-fashioned way, singing all the latest songs gathered from the newest play, or they start the phonograph and shove the chairs back to the wall and hold a little party dance, I'm happiest of all. Then I sorter settle back, plumb contented to the core, and I tell myself most proudly, that's what home's intended for. When the laughter's gaily ringing and the room is filled with song, I like to sit and watch 'em, all that glad and merry throng. For the ragtime they are playing on the old piano there beats any high-toned music where the bright lights shine and glare. And the racket they are making stirs my pulses more and more. So I whisper in my gladness, that's what home's intended for. Then I smile and say to mother, let 'em move the chairs about. Let 'em frolic in the parlor. Let 'em shove the tables out. Just so long as they are near us. Just so long as they will stay. By the fireplace we are keeping, harm will never come their way. And you'll never hear me grumble at the bills that keep me poor. It's the finest part o' living. That's what home's intended for. End of section 103.
Section 104 of Rhymes of Childhood by Edgar A. Guest. This LibriVox recording is in the public domain. Read by Eric Lee. Oh, gee whiz. Queerest little chap he is, always saying oh, gee whiz, needing something from the store that you've got to send him for. And then you call him from his play, then it is you hear him say, oh, gee whiz. Seems that most expressive phrase is a part of childhood days. Call him in at supper time, hands and face all smeared with grime. Send him up to wash and he answers you disgustedly, oh, gee whiz. When it's time to go to bed and he'd rather play instead, as you call him from the street, he comes in with dragging feet, knowing that he has to go, Then it is he mutters low, "Oh, gee whiz." Makes no difference what you ask of him as a little task. He has yet to learn that life crosses many a joy with strife. So when duty mars his play, all we can hear him say, "Oh, gee whiz." End of section 104.
Section 105 of Rhymes of Childhood by Edgar A. Guest. This LibriVox recording is in the public domain. Read by Sarah Brown. The Living Beauties. I never knew until they went how much their laughter really meant. I never knew how much the place depended on each little face. How barren home could be and drear without its living beauties here. I never knew that chairs and books could wear such sad and solemn looks, that rooms and halls could be at night so still and drained of all delight. This home is now but brick and board, where bits of furniture are stored. I used to think I loved each shelf and room for what it was itself, and once I thought each picture fine, because I proudly called it mine. But now I know they mean no more than artworks hanging in a store. Until they went away to roam, I never knew what made it home. But I have learned that all is base, however wonderful the place, and decked with costly treasures rare, unless the living joys are there. End of section 105.
Section 106 of Rhymes of Childhood by Edgar A. Guest. This LibriVox recording is in the public domain. Read by Fernando Borrego. Storytelling. Most every night when they're in bed, and both their little prayers have said, they shout for me to come upstairs and tell them tales of grizzly bears and Indians and gypsies bold and eagles with the claws that hold a baby's weight, and fairy sprites that roam the woods on starry nights. And I must illustrate these tales, must imitate the northern gales that toss the Indian's canoe, and show the way he paddles too. If in the story comes a bear, I have to pause and sniff the air, and show the way he climbs the trees to steal the honey from the bees. And then I buzz like angry bees, and sting him on the nose and knees, and howl in pain till mother cries, "That pair will never shut their eyes, while all that noise up there you make. You're simply keeping them awake." And then they whisper, "Just one more," and once again I'm forced to roar. New stories every night they ask, and that is not an easy task. I have to be so many things: the frog that croaks, the lark that sings, the cunning fox, the frightened hen. And just last night they stumped me when they wanted me to twist and squirm and imitate an angleworm. At last they tumble off to sleep, and softly from their room I creep, and brush and comb the shock of hair I tossed about to be a bear. Then mother says, "Well, I should say you're just as much a child as they, but you can bet I'll not resign that storytelling job of mine." End of section 106.
Section 107 of Rhymes of Childhood by Edgar A. Guest. This LibriVox recording is in the public domain. Recording by April 6090, California, United States of America. The World and Bud. If we were all alike, what a dreadful world 'twould be! No one would know which one was you or which of us was me. We'd never have a skinny or a freckles or a fat, and there wouldn't be a sissy boy to wear a velvet hat. And we'd all of us be pitchers when we played a baseball match, for we'd never have a feller who'd have nerve enough to catch. If we were all alike and looked and thought the same, I wonder how they'd call us, 'cause there'd only be one name. And there'd only be one flavor for our ice cream, sodas too, and one color for a necktie, and I suppose that would be blue. And maybe we'd have mothers who were very fond of curls, and they'd make us fellers wear our hair like lovely little girls. Sometimes I think it's funny when I hear some feller say that he isn't fond of chocolate when I eat it every day, or some other fellow doesn't like the books I like to read. But I'm glad that we are different, yes sirree, I am indeed. If everybody looked alike and talked alike, oh gee, we'd never know which one was you or which of us was me. End of section 107.
Section 108 of Rhymes of Childhood by Edgar A. Guest. This LibriVox recording is in the public domain. Read by Garfield D'Souza. The Choir Boy. They put his spotless surplice on and dyed his flowing dye, and he was fair to look upon as he went singing by. He sang the hymns with gentle grace, that little lad of 9, for there was something in his face which seemed almost divine. His downcast eye was good to see, his brow was smooth and fair, and no one dreamed that there could be a rascal plotting there. Yet, when all heads in prayer were bowed, God's gracious care to beg, the boy next to him cried aloud, "Quit pinching on my leg!" A pious little child he seemed, an angel born to sing. Beholding him, none ever dreamed he'd do a naughty thing. Yet many a sudden ouch proclaimed that he had smuggled in for mischief-making, unashamed, a most disturbing pin. And yet, I think, from high above, the Father looking down knows everything he's thinking of, and smiles when mortals frown. For in the spotless surplice white, which is his mother's joy, he knows he's not an angel bright, but just a healthy boy. End of section 108.
Section 109 of Rhymes of Childhood by Edgar A. Guest. This LibriVox recording is in the public domain. Read by Wayne Perry. To the Little Baby. You know your mother, that's plain as day, but those wide blue eyes of you seem to say, when I bend over your crib, "Now who are you?" It's the little figure I cut, I know, and faces trouble a baby so, but I'm the gladdest of all the glad, your dad. You're 2 months old, and you see us smile, and I know you are wondering all the while, whoever on earth can these people be, you see? You've learned your mother, you know her well, when hunger rattles the dinner bell, but somehow or other you cannot place my face. As yet I'm but one of the passing throng, the curious people who come along, and pause at your crib, and you seem to say each day, "I know one voice that is sweet to hear, I know her step when my mother's near, I know her wonderful smile, but who are you?" You always come with the same old grin, your fingers rough when you tickle my chin, but you run away when I start to cry, and I don't understand when visitors call why you're so afraid they will let me fall. You are the queerest of all the queer folks here. It's true that over your crib I stand and tickle your chin with my rough old hand, and I run away when you start to cry, but I have a right to my queer little funny ways, to boast your worth and to sound your praise, for I am the gladdest of all the glad, your dad. End of section 109, recording by Wayne Perry.
Section 110 of Rhymes of Childhood by Edgar A. Guest. This LibriVox recording is in the public domain. Read by Theoden Humphrey. Pretending Not to See. Sometimes at the table when he gets misbehavin', then mother calls across to me, "Look at him now! Don't you see what he's doing sprawling there? Make him sit up in his chair. Don't you see the messy way that he is eating?" And I say, No, he seems all right just now. What's he doing anyhow? Mother placed him there by me, and she thinks I ought to see every time he breaks the laws and correct him, just because there will come a time someday when he mustn't act that way. But I can't be all along scolding him for doing wrong. So if something goes astray, I just look the other way. Mother tells me now and then I'm the easiest of men, and in dealing with the lad, I will never see the bad that he does, and I suppose Mother's right, for Mother knows. But I'd hate to feel that I'm here to scold him all the time. Little faults might spoil the day, so I look the other way. Look the other way and try not to let him catch my eye, knowing all the time that he doesn't mean so bad to be. Knowing, too, that now and then I am not the best of men. Hoping, too, the times I fall, that the Father of us all, loving, watching over me, will pretend he doesn't see. End of section 110.
Section 111 of Rhymes of Childhood by Edgar A. Guest. This LibriVox recording is in the public domain. Read by Ed Humple. The Fairy and the Robin. A fairy and a robin met beside a bed of mignonette. The robin bowed and raised his hat, and smiled a smile as wide as that. Then said, "Miss Fairy, I declare I'd kiss you, only I don't dare." The fairy curtsied low and said, "Your breast is such a lovely red, and you are such a handsome thing, and oh, such pretty songs you sing. I'd gladly kiss you now, but I may only kiss a butterfly." The robin spoke a silly word. "I'm sorry I was born a bird. Were I a fairy man instead, then you and I might some day wed." The fairy laughed and said, "My dear, God had to have some robins here. Be glad you're what you are and sing, and cheer the people in the spring. I play with children, as I'm told, but you bring joy to young and old. And it seems always strange to me, I'm one the old folks never see." The robin spoke, "Perhaps it's best I'll sing my songs and show my breast. I'll be a robin, and you stay and share in all the children's play. God needs us both, so let us try to do our duty, you and I." How do I know they said these things? I saw the robin spread his wings. I saw the fairy standing up upon a golden buttercup. I hid myself behind a wall and listened close and heard it all. End of section 111.
Section 112 of Rhymes of Childhood by Edgar A. Guest. This LibriVox recording is in the public domain. Read by Thomas Dorrington Hardeen. The Spoiler. With a twinkle in his eye, he'd come gaily walking by, and he'd whistle to the children, and he'd beckon 'em to come. Then he'd chuckle low and say, "Come along, I'm on my way, and it's I that need your company to buy a little gum." When his merry call they'd hear, all the children far and near would come flying from the gardens like the chickens after wheat. When we'd shake our heads and say, "No, you mustn't go today," he'd beg to let him have 'em in a pack about his feet. Oh, he spoiled 'em one and all. There was not a youngster small but was overfed on candy and was stuffed with lollipops. and I think his greatest joy was to get some girl or boy and bring him to their parents, all besmeared by chocolate drops. Now the children's hearts are sore, for he comes to them no more, and no more to them he whistles, and no more for them he stops. But in paradise, I think, with his chuckle and his wink, he is leading little angels to the heavenly candy shops. End of section 112. Recording by Thomas Dorrington Hardeen. Section 113 of Rhymes of Childhood by Edgar A. Guest. This LibriVox recording is in the public domain. Read by Thomas Dorrington Hardeen. High Chair Days. High chair days are the best of all, or so they seem to me. Days when tumbler and platter fall, and the king smiles merrily. When the regal arms and the regal feet a constant patter of music beat, and the grown-ups bow in a gracious way to the high chair monarch who rules the day. High chair days, and the throne not dressed in golden or purple hues, but an old-style thing, let it be confessed, his grandmother used to use. Its legs are scarred and a trifle bowed, but the king who sits on the chair is proud, and he throws his rattle and silver cup for the joy of making us pick them up. The old high chair in the dining room is a handsomer thing by far than the costly chairs in the lonely gloom of the childless mansions are. For the sweetest laughter the world has known comes day by day from that humble throne, and the happiest tables, morn and night, have a high chair placed at the mother's right. The old high chair is a joy sublime, yet it brings us its hour of pain, for we've put it away from time to time, perhaps never to need again. Yet God was good, and the angels tapped, and again was the old high chair unwrapped, and proud was I when I heard the call to bring it back to the dining hall. There are griefs to meet and cares to face through the years that lie ahead. The proudest monarch must lose his place and lie with the splendid dead. I know there are blows I shall have to meet. I must pay with the bitter for all life sweet. But I live in dread of that coming day, when forever the high chair goes away. End of section 113. Recording by Thomas Dorrington Hardeen. Section number 114 of Rhymes of Childhood by Edgar A. Guest. This LibriVox recording is in the public domain. Read by Thomas Dorrington Hardeen. Rich. Who has a troop of romping youth about his parlor floor, who nightly hears a round of cheers when he is at the door, who is attacked on every side by eager little hands, that reach to tug his grizzled mug, the wealth of earth commands, who knows the joys of boys and girls, his lads and lassies too, who's pounced upon and bounced upon when his day's work is through, whose trousers know the gentle tug of some glad little tot, the baby of his crew of love is wealthier than a lot. Oh, he be poor and sore distressed, and weary with the fight. If with a whoop his healthy troop run welcoming the night, and kisses greet him at the end of all his toiling grim, with what is best in life he's blessed, and rich men envy him. End of section 114. Recording by Thomas Dorrington Hardeen.
Section 115 of Rhymes of Childhood by Edgar A. Guest. This LibriVox recording is in the public domain. Read by Ed Humple. Dirty Hands. I have to wash myself at night before I go to bed, and wash again when I get up, and wash before I'm fed. And Ma inspects my neck and ears, and Pa my hands and shirt. They seem to wonder why it is that I'm so fond of dirt. But Bill, my chum, and I agree that we have never seen a feller doing anything whose hands were white and clean. Bill's mother scolds the same as mine, and calls him in from play, to make him wash his face and hands 12 times a day. Dirt seems to worry mothers so, but when a plumber comes to fix the pipes, it's plain to see he never scrubs his thumbs. His clothes are always thick with grease, his face is smeared with dirt, and he is not ashamed to show the smudges on his shirt. A motorman who runs the car has hands much worse than mine, and I have noticed when we ride there's dirt in every line. The carpenter who works around our house can mend a chair, or put up shelves, or fix the door, and mother doesn't care that he's not in his Sunday best. She never interferes, and makes him stop his work to go upstairs to wash his ears. The fellows really doing things, as far as I can see, have hands and necks and ears that are as dirty as can be. The man who fixes father's car when he can't make it go most always has a smudgy face. His hands aren't white as snow. But I must wash and wash and wash, while everybody knows the most important men in town have dirty hands and clothes. End of Rhymes of Childhood by Edgar A. Guest.